Chapter 1442. Soon, the news was found. Miss, the reason why the competition is being held in Yi County is because the He clan has taken out a 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit. The guard said, 10,000-year profound moon fruit. Liao and the others all exclaimed in a low voice. As alchemists, they naturally knew the role of the profound moon fruit. If one wanted to refine pills above the 10th grade, this profound moon fruit could increase the chances of success. Moreover, this was also an essential ingredient for many medicinal pills. They also knew that it was not easy for the profound moon fruit to mature, and it was often rare for it to be more than 1,000 years old. A profound moon fruit that was over 10,000 years old was probably the only one in this world. Miss Yang, I remember you said before that you've also been looking for a profound moon fruit recently. Fang Qi said, recalling their previous conversation. No wonder those two people came out. With such a thing, they still want to hide it from me. Yang Shi sneered. This mysterious moon fruit, I want it. Your alchemy skills are above those two. They definitely can't compare to you. Fang Qi seized the opportunity to flatter. In the last competition, the two of them were on par with me. After such a long time, I've improved and so have they. Yang Shi was not too proud when facing these two people. Liao and Fang Qi thought about it and agreed. She had always regarded these two as her opponents. How bad could a person who could be her opponent be? However, I will definitely win against them. Yang Shi said this very confidently. Then let's go to Yi County. But what about Sima Yue? Fang Qi asked. Sima Yue. Thinking of Lang Zhong smiling so happily at her, Yang Shi couldn't suppress the anger in her heart. However, the other party refused to go with them. Otherwise, she would have been able to go with him on the road. Miss Yang, should we send someone to? Liao asked. Yang Shi shook her head. With him here, we can't kill her. City Lord Lang? Yes. He didn't bring anyone with him. Just because we don't see anyone doesn't mean that there isn't anyone. He is not an ordinary person. Yang Shi said. He wasn't an ordinary person. This was what the family said. Then what should we do now? Fang Qi asked. Like I said, we're going to Yi County. Yang Shi said, if you get the mysterious moon fruit, you can refine pills for grandfather. If you give it to him on his birthday, you will definitely win his favor. As for Sima Yue, she won't live for long. However, the guard at the side didn't have any intention of retreating. What else? Replying to Miss, the He clan has another request. The guard said, what request? The one who gets first place will have to wake up the wife of the head of the He family in order to get the mystic moon fruit. The guard replied, Madam He? Yes. He had heard that the Madam of the He family had been in a coma for 5 years for some unknown reason. Rumor has it that the patriarch of the He clan loves his wife as much as his life. In the past 5 years, he has exhausted all means but still failed to wake her up. Therefore, he took out this 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit, hoping that there's a way to wake his wife up. He's quite infatuated, Yang Shi said. What kind of family is the He family? The He clan is the strongest in the 64 prefectures. Although they can't compare to us, their strength can still be displayed. If they can be displayed, then they can't be offended casually. They all knew that there would be some stronger forces in the later prefectures. Because of various reasons, they didn't go to the front, but this didn't affect their status in the inner region. The Yin clan of the 49 prefectures was like this, and the He clan of the 64 prefectures seemed to be the same. Which city is it in? She asked. Cord City. Then let's go to Cord City. Yang Shi said, you don't have to come with us. Go with the Fang family and check the Sima family and Sima Yue. Yes, Mississippi. Yang Shi and the others rushed to Cord City, and Sima Yue and the others were also heading to Cord City. Originally, they were going to return to the Sima family, but Sima Ji Yuan, who learned the news of their return, asked them to go to Cord City. Cord City. During this period of time, they had heard a lot, and many people were talking about the upcoming Cord City convention. Although it was called a convention, it was also a competition. Because all the participants were women, there would be many beautiful women. Therefore, there were many people who came to watch. Therefore, Cord City was also very lively recently. Sima Xiuqi said that the He clan was the strongest family in the 64 prefectures, but they were very low-key. The current patriarch loved his wife very much. It must be that his wife's coma made him helpless, so he came up with this idea this month. They had met before, but they didn't have much of a friendship. Sima Zhiyuan said that they should go directly to Cord City. It must be to bring the younger generation of the family to participate in the Cord City convention. Since the cause of the coma can't be found, why don't they go to a doctor? Could it be that they can just find these alchemists and refiners? This was the doubt in her heart. Miss, you don't know about this. When the waiter who was pouring tea heard her words, he said, Patriarchy has invited all the famous doctors, but they didn't get any useful methods. Madam, he is still in a coma. The doctors can't do anything? Yes. Since the doctors can't do anything, these women are all professional masters. What can they do? Musi asked. I heard that they went to find Master Enlin. But Master Enlin didn't see him directly, but told him that only women can solve this matter. That's why this convention was held. Only women can solve it. This was indeed Enlin's style of speaking. Sima Yue laughed secretly. Later on, I don't know what happened, but this convention was held in Cord City. It seems that it was changed at the last minute. Guest, the tea is ready. Please enjoy it. After the waiter finished speaking, he took the teapot and left. Master, that Master Enlin, is he the one you said before who guided you to Go City? Musi asked. Yes. Then did he say that you would meet me there? Sima Yue was stunned. Enlin didn't say it, but he told little helper Musi's name. This could be considered as telling her. Why are you asking this? She asked. I want to see if our meeting was within his expectations. Musi said with a smile. Speaking of which, I have to thank him. If it wasn't for him, you wouldn't have gone to Go City, and I wouldn't have met you. Sima Yue saw Musi smile, but her mind remembered a sentence that Enlin once told her. The cycle of cause and effect. Why would she think of this? Was this a cause or an effect? She shook her head and threw away the thoughts in her heart. She felt that recently, she would always think of things that she usually wouldn't think about. It came suddenly, as if it was some kind of omen, and it made her heart jump. After drinking tea, the group of them continued to rush to Cord City. At that time, Sima Zhiyuan's voice sounded more anxious, and she didn't know if something had happened. Chapter 1443. After taking 2 teleportation arrays, they finally arrived at Cord City. Just as they exited the Spirit Master Guild, they saw Sima Zhiyuan and the others waiting outside. Sima Yue and the rest did not expect that they would come here to pick them up. They could not react in time. Ha ha, you're finally here. When Sima Zhiyuan saw Sima Yue, he walked over and hugged her, laughing happily. He didn't look as dignified as he usually did. The Sima family members behind them who had seen Sima Zhiyuan and Sima Yue meet for the first time were stunned, while Sima Xiuqi and the others regained their senses. Patriarch, they bowed to him. However, he ignored her. He hugged Sima Yue and said, My child, you're finally here. If you didn't come, I would have gone to look for you. Sima Yue was out of breath from his hug. She patted his shoulder and said, Great-grandfather, I can't breathe from your hug. Sima Zhiyuan then let go of her. Hee, I was too excited. Sima Yue took a step back after escaping from the clutches of the devil. She patted her chest as if she had just survived a disaster. Sima Lu Xian, who was at the side, saw how excited Sima Zhiyuan was and bowed to him, Patriarch. Sima Zhiyuan's attention shifted from Sima Yue to him. Seeing his silver hair, he felt a little sad and patted his shoulder, saying, It's good that you're back. Sima Lu Xian felt the power coming from his shoulder, and his heart was filled with mixed feelings as he said, Yes. Patriarch, why are you here? Huang Yingying asked. That's right. Great-grandfather, why are you here? Sima Yue was curious too. Even if Sima Zhiyuan wanted to see her, he wouldn't have brought so many people here. Therefore, there must be a reason. How dare you? How can you not abide by the rules and call the family head great-grandfather? An old man behind him berated loudly. Sima Yue was scolded for no reason. Her face darkened, and she was unhappy. No one in her family had ever scolded her like this before. How dare a stranger scold her in public? She didn't come back to be bullied. However, before she could say anything, Huang Yingying shouted first. She pointed at the old man's nose and scolded, "Sima Tu, what are you barking for?" Sima Yue had an idea. Sima Tu? Wasn't that the one Grandpa mentioned, the one who was at odds with Grandpa's bloodline? He was also the biggest suspect in the family's attempts to persecute him. Thinking of this, she narrowed her eyes and carefully sized him up. Although he and his grandfather were only cousins, the two of them looked very similar. However, his grandfather looked cold and righteous, while he looked somewhat sinister. He didn't know if it was because he had given her a hint. "Huang Yingying, your granddaughter is so disgraceful. How dare she call the head of the household her great-grandfather?" Sima Tu was not intimidated by Huang Yingying's attitude at all. He continued to criticize Sima Yue. Huang Yingying wanted to scold him, but a soft little hand grabbed her arm. "Old Grandpa, you're already so old. You should have some brains. Why do you keep saying things that show off your intelligence?" Sima Yue laughed. Although she was laughing, everyone could tell that she was scolding him. "How dare you?" The younger people beside Sima Tu scolded. "Why am I wrong?" Sima Yue's face darkened. "I'm not a member of the Sima family. Why do I have to follow your family's rules? To put it bluntly, I was invited by my great-grandfather. I'm considered your guest. Who do you think you are?" Sima Tu wanted to continue scolding her, but Sima Zhiyuan, who wanted to see Sima Yue's reaction, scolded him. "Shut up. Yue is right. Move to the side. Head of the household." Sima Tu looked at Sima Zhiyuan in disbelief. Although he was usually temperamental and often scolded them, he would never scold them because of the younger generation. When he said that she was right, he meant that she was right when she said, "Who do you think you are?" "Great-grandpa, it seems that they are not satisfied with this title. Since that's the case, I'll call you the head of the Sima family from now on." Sima Yue looked at Sima Zhiyuan, feeling wronged. Although Sima Zhiyuan knew that she was purposely acting so wronged, he still felt sorry for her. He scolded Sima Tu, "Get lost. I shouldn't have brought you here." Head of the household. The rest of the family looked at him. Why was the head of the household so angry? Even if she was a talented younger generation, there was no need for him to scold the elders of the family like this, right? It wasn't easy for me to get her to agree to call me great-grandfather. If any of you continue to make noise, then scram back to the family. Sima Zhiyuan's words were not only directed at Sima Tu, but also the rest of the family. Everyone looked at each other in dismay, then answered in unison. Sima Zhiyuan turned around to look at Sima Yue and immediately smiled. "Yue, all right, I've scolded them. Don't be angry anymore." The corners of everyone's mouths twitched. This fawning look, was it really the same person who had scolded them just now? "Great-grandpa, you're the best." Sima Yue went up to hug Sima Zhiyuan's arm and said with a smile. The others thought that Sima Zhiyuan would shake off her hand. There had never been a younger generation who could overstep the rules like this before. This little girl was too daring. But the expected situation did not happen. Sima Zhiyuan was even happier. "Great-grandpa, why are you here?" Sima Yue asked again. "We wanted to see you quickly, so we came." Sima Zhiyuan said and winked at her. The real reason couldn't be said? Sima Yue understood. Since he couldn't say it, then she would go back and say it. "Great-grandpa, did you miss me, father and grandmother? If you had told me earlier, I would have come back earlier." She smiled. "By the way, great-grandpa, this is my disciple Musi. This is Musi. Not bad, not bad." Sima Zhiyuan said, "Where are your grandfather and brothers?" "They stayed in the valley." Sima Yue said, "The inner region is indeed more dangerous than the outside. It's better to stay outside and be taken care of by the valley." Sima Zhiyuan said, "I think so too." Sima Yue replied. In fact, grandfather and Fatty Chu also said that they were willing to follow her here. If they felt that they were a burden, they could cultivate in the spirit pagoda and come out when they were stronger. However, she refused this time because she didn't know what she would encounter in the inner region. If they stayed in Heartbreak Valley, it would be safe and stable. And because Paramount Valley was there, they would not stop her from getting news. Sima Jiyuan brought them back to their residence before Sima Lu Xian asked, "Patriarch, did something happen in Cord City?" Chapter 1444. Sima Jiyuan looked at Sima Lu Xian. "Please search to see the most complete. Update the fastest." Although there were people on our way back, if one were to look carefully, one would discover that they were mostly in groups. Sima Lu Xian said, "Moreover, the streets are not as lively as they should be when the conference is about to be held. Instead, there's a sense of caution everywhere." So, Patriarch, what happened? Furthermore, Sima Jiyuan had brought people to pick them up. Rather than saying that he was picking them up, it was more like he was protecting them. Sima Jiyuan looked at Sima Lu Xian. He had always been meticulous and wise since he was young. He had only walked back from the Spirit Master Guild, but he was able to discover all these. You guessed right. Something did happen in Cord City. However, now is not the time to talk about this. Sima Jiyuan looked at Sima Yue. "Child, one of us is injured. Can you help treat him?" "Is it serious?" Sima Yue was surprised. "Yes, the family's doctors and alchemists are helpless. It's a good thing that you came back this time. Otherwise, I would have sent people to look for you." Sima Jiyuan said. He actually wanted to find her and bring her back? Were his injuries that serious? Then let's go and see them first. Sima Yue said. All right. Sima Yue didn't know why the Sima family was so anxious until she saw the patients, because all of them were women. Other than Sima Yiyun and Sima Chi-Chi, who he knew, there were more than 10 other girls. They are all going to participate in this competition. Sima Jiyuan explained. No wonder. Sima Yue had an idea and said, "Let me check them first. Go quickly." Sima Yue urged. Sima Yue checked on them. None of them were in a serious condition, but it was troublesome. "Yue, how is it?" Huang Yingying asked worriedly when she saw Sima Yue frowning. It was Sima Yue's first time seeing Huang Yingying so worried. She guessed that there must be someone she cared about among the unconscious people. "Grandma, their lives are not in danger," Sima Yue said. "That's good." Huang Yingying patted her chest. "When will they wake up? Can he participate in the competition?" Sima Tu asked. His voice was very anxious. It seemed that he was very concerned about whether they could participate in the competition and not their bodies. "He can wake up, but I'm afraid he won't be able to participate in the competition," Sima Yue said. "Why? Why are they unconscious?" Sima Jiyuan asked. "They're poisoned," Sima Yue said. "Although he can wake up, it will take a month for the poison to be completely removed. The Chu City competition would start in less than half a month. It would take a month for him to recover, so he would definitely not be able to participate in the competition." "Poisoned? How is that possible?" A man with a handlebar mustache behind Sima Tu shouted. His words were filled with disbelief. "Why not?" Sima Yue glanced at him. She didn't treat those who didn't treat her well. "If he was poisoned, how could I not tell? You're just a little girl. What can you tell?" The man with the handlebar mustache said. "That's because you're not skilled enough." Sima Yue retorted. "If you're really good, how could you not tell that he was poisoned? It's not just me who couldn't tell. The poison masters who came to see him didn't say that he was poisoned." "Uft! You're just a little girl. How can you be better than more than a dozen reputable poison masters?" The man with the handlebar mustache said. "Can you? It can't be nonsense, right?" Someone echoed. "That's right, master. How can a little girl be better than those people? Those doctors didn't say that they were poisoned." Sima Jiyuan furrowed his brows and glared at those people, saying, "All of you shut up." Those people were embarrassed. Although they didn't speak, their eyes were still full of ridicule when they looked at Sima Yue. "Yue, do you really need a month?" Sima Jiyuan asked. Sima Yue saw that Sima Jiyuan's expression was a little solemn and said, "I think that the other party didn't want them to participate in the competition, so they used this kind of poison. It's not fatal, but the detoxification process is slow." "Great-grandfather, do you care a lot about this competition?" "It's not that I care about this competition, but I need the prize of this competition, the 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit." Sima Lu Feng's voice came from outside. Then he and Sima Lu Yun walked in. "Profound moon fruit?" "Yes." If we win this competition, the family can get the profound moon fruit and the Methria fruit. Sima Lu Feng saw that Sima Yuyue's gaze became sharp, and he swallowed the rest of his words. Why are you looking at me like that? I remember that when you asked me to get the Methria fruit, you said that my father was chased out of the family. Sima Yue stared at him, her gaze revealing a dangerous message. Your father was chased out of the family. Sima Tu said, your father is no longer in the family tree. Sima Yue looked back at Sima Lu Xian. There was doubt in her eyes. Didn't her father leave by himself? After he left, didn't her grandparents bring people to look for him? If he was chased out of the family, would the family allow it? Sima Lu Xian nodded at her and said, I'm indeed no longer in the family tree. What happened at that time was to show that he was punished. Although he was removed from the family tree, the patriarch and some people still regarded him as a member of the Sima family. But to others, he was chased out of the family. So my father is no longer in the family tree. Sima Yue dragged her voice. If that's the case, then why did we come back? She got up, looked at those people, and said, then I don't need to treat these people. If you don't want to, then don't go back. Sima Lu Xian's tone was indifferent. He didn't have any opinion on whether she went back or not. Yue, don't be angry. How can you take these bastards' words seriously? Sima Ji Yuan coaxed. Great-grandfather has been waiting for you to come back every day. How can you bear to break my heart and disappoint me? The corners of everyone's mouths twitched. Patriarch, you're too biased. Sima Tu and the others were even angrier because of this silly girl. They had been scolded many times today. No, these people said that we were chased out. I don't want to go back. My father doesn't want to go back either. Unless you chase them out, we won't go back. Sima Yue threw a tantrum. Anyway, in these people's eyes, she was just a little girl. It was normal for her to be willful and mischievous. Since there was no way to reconcile, then let them be disgusted first. Unexpectedly, Sima Ji Yuan immediately responded, Okay. As long as you come back, anything is fine. Patriarch, how can you coax the younger generation like this? This book came from. Chapter 1445. Book title. Chapter Make a Deal. Author Patriarch. Although they knew that with the clan elders and elders around, Sima Ji Yuan couldn't really chase them out of the clan, but even so, they were still shocked. I shouldn't have brought you here. Get out of here. Scram. Sima Ji Yuan said as he waved his hand impatiently. Sima Tu and the others glared at Sima Yue, but did not dare to say anything. They flicked their sleeves and left angrily. Sima Yue watched them leave and smiled at Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying. From the moment they met, she realized that her grandfather and grandmother were not happy. They looked at Sima Tu with anger and forbearance. Now that he was gone, they didn't have to suffer anymore. All right, now that those people have left, Yue, tell great-grandfather now, do they really need that long to recover? Sima Ji Yuan said. Yes. Sima Yue said, the poison in their bodies is called 100 days of sleep. The poisoned person will fall into a coma for 100 days, consuming their life force in their sleep. After 100 days, they will lose their life because their life force has been exhausted. 100 days of sleep? I've never heard of this poison before. It's a very ancient poison. The effect of the poison makes a person look like they're in a deep sleep, so most people can't tell. Furthermore, its ingredients were very rare, and the antidote was very difficult to concoct. Sima Yue said, if I didn't see it by chance, I wouldn't have been able to diagnose it. Can you detoxify it? I can develop an antidote, but as I said earlier, it will take a month. Sima Yue said, moreover, they have been in a coma for more than half a month. Even if they were detoxified, their vitality would be greatly depleted. I'm afraid it would take some time for them to recover. Her words were equivalent to completely denying the possibility of the Sima family participating in this competition. Thinking of this, disappointment flashed in Sima Ji Yuan's eyes. Sima Yue caught his disappointment and asked, great-grandfather, do you really want the mystic moon fruit? Over the years, we have been looking for some medicinal herbs. The Methria fruit that you asked them to bring back is one of them. After all these years of hard work, we have almost finished searching. Now we are only missing this profound moon fruit. Sima Ji Yuan said. Refining pills? Sima Yus said with certainty. Yes, we obtained a pill formula. With it, our old ancestor will be able to advance. Sima Ji Yuan said. Our old ancestor has been stuck at the High Paragon rank for a long time, unable to enter the Grand Paragon rank. Now that his time is almost up, if he still can't advance, I'm afraid. The Sima family's strength had been reduced by a lot. If even their ancestor was gone, they would most likely be suppressed by other forces. However, once he broke through, the strength of the Sima family would increase by a lot. One had to know that an expert was extremely important to a family. No wonder Sima Ji Yuan cared so much about this competition. Sima Yue contacted Little Spirit. Little Spirit, is there a mystic moon fruit in the Spirit Pagoda? Yes. Little Spirit was busy brewing the new wine and casually replied, Is there one more than 10,000 years old? 10,000 years old. Little Spirit sneered, not to mention 10,000 years old. They're even 100,000 years old. Really? It grows on the mountain and no one picks it. So there should be one. I don't have time to see it now. You can sense it yourself. Little Spirit said and ignored her. Sima Yus sensed it and found the mystic moon fruit, and not just one, but a whole patch. On the cliff, there were densely packed saplings of the mystic moon fruit. There were at least 1 or 2 mystic moon fruits on each tree, and the age was not low. If it was outside, someone would definitely be overjoyed to see this scene, but here it was just a very ordinary cliff. After confirming that there was this in the Spirit Pagoda, she felt more confident. She did not take it out immediately, but thought for a while and said, Great-grandfather, don't worry. If you can't get this, I know where else. Really? Where is it? Don't ask about this. I will think of a way. Sima Yus said. Won't it be too dangerous for you to get it? Why don't you tell me? I will send someone to. Great-grandfather, the other party doesn't want people to know. Sima Yus said, So, don't worry. I will get this. All right then. If there is anything you need, just tell me. Sima Ji Yuan stated. I will. Now, I will suppress the toxicity for them first. Otherwise, before I develop the antidote, their vitality will be eaten away. Okay. I want to use a needle, you guys. We will wait for you outside. Sima Ji Yuan took people out, and Lang Zhong, who had been silent, hesitated for a moment and stood still. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, What are you doing? I want to see how you suppress this 100 days of sleep for them. Lang Zhong said. Sima Yue stared at him and said faintly, You know about the 100 days of sleep. I know. Lang Zhong did not hide it. Then do you know the antidote? I know. However, I want to see how you detoxify it. Lang Zhong said, Are you a poison master? Half a poison master. Sima Yue speculated in her heart about the authenticity of his words. I have to perform acupuncture and undress. You can't stay here, she said. However, I can tell you the method as a condition in exchange for the antidote. A method of suppression, and you want to exchange it with me for the antidote to the 100 days of sleep. Lang Zhong raised his eyebrows. How can there be such a good thing? Yes, that's what I'm curious about. Sima Yue said, This is a good thing for you. Oh, even if you don't tell me the antidote, as long as I study it for a few days, I can still develop the antidote. But you can't. If I don't tell you my method, can you think of it? Sima Yue smiled, confident but not arrogant. Seeing the smile on her face, Lang Zhong was stunned, and then said, Then it depends on whether your method is so attractive to me. Then you go out and come in later to check the results. Sima Yue said, Okay. Lang Zhong turned around and went out, waiting to see the results of her suppression. Once someone also wanted to suppress this, but by the time he developed the antidote, that person had already left forever. Suppressing them was simply impossible. When he came outside the house, Sima Ji Yuan cupped his hands towards him and said, I didn't expect you to be the city lord of Tangerine City. I was really disrespectful just now. He already knew that he was going to follow Sima Yue. Although he felt a little strange, since she agreed, he would not drive him away. Sima family is too polite. Lang Zhong also returned the greeting. In the past, when he saw this kind of family head greeting him, he would ignore it, but since it was her great-grandfather, he had to give him some face. Gentleman's Alliance. Chapter 1446. Although Sima Ji Yuan wanted to ask about the details of Sima Lu Xian, due to Lang Zhong's presence, they could only talk about other things. Patriarch, who did this to us? Huang Yingying asked. Sima Ji Yuan shook his head. Because of the recent events, many people know about this matter. There are also many people who don't want us to improve. Therefore, there were many people who wanted to make a move on them. Are those people outside being cautious because something happened to the Sima family? Or did something similar happen to other people? Sima Lu Xian asked. She said that she wasn't a member of the Sima family. So, Sima Lu Xian changed the way he addressed her. Because of us, Sima Ji Yuan said, the temptation of a 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit is too great. They naturally have to ensure the safety of the participants. Indeed, however, the profound moon fruit can't be obtained just by winning the competition, right? They said that they had to treat young Madam He, but I think they automatically ignored this. This patriarch, he is really an affectionate person. Lang Zhong sighed. His eyes were gloomy. No one knew what he was thinking. Time passed by as they talked. After a few hours, Sima Yiyu opened the door of the house. How is it? Huang Yingying came to her and asked worriedly. It's under control. They're all awake now, but they're very weak. Sima Yue said. Really? He's already awake? I'll go in and take a look. Sima Yue did not stop her. Huang Yingying pushed the door open and entered excitedly. She heard someone call her mother after Huang Yingying went in. It turned out that his aunt was one of them. No wonder she was so anxious before. Let's go in and take a look. The others followed in, leaving Lang Zhong and Sima Yue resting against the pillar. He really succeeded in suppressing it. You can take a look if you don't believe me. I'm honest, Sima Yue said confidently. Lang Zhong didn't seem to believe it. He bypassed her and entered the house. Sure enough, he saw that the person who was still unconscious just now had opened her eyes. Although he was weak, he was indeed awake. He was a little out of control. He quickly walked to the bedside and grabbed a woman's hand to check. Then he was stunned. He really had it under control. Lang Zhong, what are you doing? Huang Yingying shouted. However, Lang Zhong ignored her and sat by the bed in a daze. Lang Zhong suddenly stood up and came to another woman. He examined her, and the result was the same. It's really possible. It's really possible. Lang Zhong muttered. Sima Yue came in and saw him in a daze. Soulless? Why? Lang Zhong. Huang Yingying was furious, and her voice suddenly rose. Grandma, he is checking their bodies. Sima Yue said. Is he also a doctor? When Lang Zhong heard Sima Yue's voice, he turned his head and looked at her. He moved his lips, but said nothing. How is it? Sima Yue asked. Why? Lang Zhong asked instead of answering. Why? Why what? Sima Yue was confused. Lang Zhong looked at her with hurt in his eyes. Why didn't you appear earlier? If someone had been able to suppress the poison for her back then, would she have been able to wait for his antidote? He stood up, and with a thought, a pill recipe appeared in his hand. He came to Sima Yue, put the pill recipe in her hand, and then bypassed her and went out. Sima Yue looked down at the pill recipe in her hand and smiled. He agreed to make a deal. Yue, what is this? Sima Yue raised the pill recipe and said, the antidote to 100 days of sleep. I'll refine the antidote first. After speaking, without waiting for others to speak, she turned around and went out. She went to an empty room next to her, set up an enchantment barrier, and began to refine the pill. Mother, is she the daughter of little brother? The woman who was first examined by Lang Zhong asked in a low voice. Yes. Huang Yingying replied. Yuan, what do you feel? I'm just a little weak. Sima Liu Yuan's voice was very weak. When she woke up just now, she saw a little girl. She smiled at her and said that she was too weak now, don't talk, and want to treat others. That face was 70% similar to Yu Kaluo's, except for their child. She couldn't think of anyone else. What a promising child. By the way, mother, Where's little brother? Huang Yingying looked back, and when everyone stepped aside, she saw a silver-haired person with a smile on the corner of her mouth. Ninth sister, I'm back. The word ninth sister made Sima Lu Yuan's tears fall instantly. Sima Ji Yuan looked at them and said to the others, since everyone has woken up, let's not just stand here. Let's go out first. The others in the clan left, leaving Huang Yingying and the others here. Now that everyone had woken up, they had to find out who did it. Sima Yue was refining pills in the house. It was her first time refining this pill, so she was still a little unfamiliar with it. It took her 2 tries before she succeeded. Looking at the pill in her hand, she remembered Lang Zhong's eyes that were full of pain. His reaction was so big. It should be because someone very important had been poisoned by this poison, and he couldn't develop the antidote in time. That question, was he asking her why she suppressed it? Sigh. She sighed in her heart, put away the pills in her hand and on the table, removed the enchantment, and opened the door to go out. Lang Zhong stood in the yard and kept looking at her door, which made her stunned. Well, she couldn't feel his breath every time, so it was normal for her not to find him outside the door. Done? He asked, his voice hoarse. She had been refining for a few days. He shouldn't have been standing here like this for the past few days, right? Yeah. Sima Yue took out more and threw it into his hand. Lang Zhong caught the jade bottle, poured out a pill, and saw the milky white pill in his palm. His heart was in turmoil. It seems that what you said is true. He threw the pill back. Sima Yue smiled and turned into the big room. She could refine the antidote in such a short time, which showed that she had a certain understanding of these things. In this case, even without his pill formula, she could develop the antidote in a while. So, she didn't lie to him. If he didn't tell her, she could also develop the antidote. But he didn't know how she suppressed it. Sima Yue came to the room and saw Huang Yingying and a few women with their hair tied up by the bed. When they saw her enter, their faces were a little excited. Yue, has the antidote been refined? Huang Yingying asked. Yeah. Sima Yue nodded. The first batch has been refined. For the ones that are needed later, I will refine them again. She took out the pills and distributed them to the women, asking them to feed them. That's great. With the antidote, you're all right. Lang Zhong stood in the yard, looking at the group of people in the room who couldn't help but be a little lost. He didn't have the chance to feel such joy at the beginning. Reading background default settings: classic light, blue classic light, gray classic, green classic bright, yellow dark blue, ocean, autumn green classic, simple, elegant red powder, family red talk, thick sea, wide sky, heartbroken past, snow white world, gray world, font color default settings, white, red, green, blue, brown, font size default settings, small, medium, large, speed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1, 0, mouse scroll description, 1 to 10. 1 is the slowest. 10 is the fastest. Chapter 1447. Is this really the antidote? Amidst the cheers, a questioning voice sounded, instantly extinguishing everyone's enthusiasm. Several people were stunned as they looked at the person who spoke. Miao Shihua, what do you mean? Huang Yingying shouted when she saw her precious granddaughter being questioned. That's right, Miao Shihua said. Even the poison master said that it wasn't poisoning. Do you think it's just because you say it's poisoning? Moreover, it was said to be a very powerful and long-lost poison. Then, was the antidote reliable? How can someone who didn't grow up in the family treat the family so well? When she said that, the people who were excited just now started to have doubts. Well, Yingying, what Shihua said makes sense. Our children are our lives. We can't afford any mistakes, someone said. You, grandmother, don't be angry. Sima Yue grabbed Huang Yingying and said, if they don't believe us, there's nothing we can say. We're not the ones begging them. If they don't think it's trustworthy, then just don't use it. I won't force it. She knew that Miao Shihua was Sima Tu's wife and was from the same generation as her grandmother. Yue, Huang Yingying's face was cold. She didn't like those people. His granddaughter had saved someone out of kindness, but they were doubting her. It was really infuriating. It's nothing, Sima Yue said. It doesn't matter to us whether they eat or not. With that, she looked at the women and said, Since you don't believe me, then don't give it to them. However, I'm only helping you this time because of my great-grandfather. If you choose not to believe me this time and come to beg me later, then I won't be so easy to talk to. Humph, you wouldn't help me even if I begged you later. Huang Yingying said. Grandmother, give the antidote to Aunt first. Sima Yue said. All right. Huang Yingying gave the antidote to Sima Lu Yuan and asked with concern, How is it? Sima Lu Yuan smiled and said, I feel much better. Although she said so, those who doubted her did not believe her when they saw that she was still weak. Some people who had a good relationship with Huang Yingying saw that she had given all the pills to Sima Lu Yuan and also fed the pills to their children. But those people didn't move. Since you don't believe me, then return the pill to me. Sima Yue extended her hand towards them. However, Miao Shihua tightly grasped the medicinal pill in her hand and did not intend to return it to her. She just wasn't sure, but that didn't mean that it was completely useless. She wanted to take it to the poison master later and give it to her daughter after confirming it. The others thought the same, so none of them returned it. Sima Yue understood what they were thinking, but she did not intend to let them take advantage of her. Little 7. As soon as he finished speaking, the others only saw 2 shadows flashing past their eyes. When they looked again, there was a young man and a young woman beside Sima Yue. That young man looked exactly like Sima Yue. It was obvious that he was a smaller version. Yu pills. Little 7 and passed the pills to Sima Yue. Only then did they realize that the pills in their hands were gone. Sima Yue kept the pills and praised. Well done. Sima Yue, what do you mean? Miao Shihua cried out. Since you don't want this pill, I naturally have to take it back. Sima Yue said, This used up a lot of medicinal herbs. It's very expensive. Since you've already given it to us, there's no reason for you to take it back. This pill is mine. Why can't I take it back? Sima Yue said, The medicinal herbs are mine, and I'm the one who refined it. Your Sima family didn't fork out a single cent. So, if I'm willing to give it to you, I'll give it to you. If you want to give it to me, I'll take it back. You dash. Miao Shihua and the others were furious. What if that was the real antidote? Mother, I feel much better. Sima Lu Yuan suddenly said. Her voice was much louder. This pill is starting to take effect, so you feel better. Sima Yue explained, but it's not enough to take the antidote once. You have to take it 2 more times. Thank you, Yue. Sima Lu Yuan said gratefully. Aunt, you're too polite. Mother, I also feel much better. Another girl who took the antidote said. Me too. I also feel that my body has some strength. Me too. The girls who had eaten the pills were all talking at once, and each one of them was much more energetic than before. Those women were happy. It seemed that the antidote was really useful. It's really useful. They cried. Huh. Luckily we believed her. Those who were led by Miao Shihua were regretting it. If they knew that it was true, they would have believed her. Now it was great. The antidote was taken back. It was all Miao Shihua's fault. They didn't think of this at all. If she didn't instigate them, they wouldn't have hesitated. Her line and Sima Xiuqi's line had old grudges, so she instigated them to not believe Sima Yue. It was all her fault. Otherwise, how could their daughter and granddaughter still be like that? With complaints in their hearts, the way they looked at her was not very good. Miao Shihua was annoyed by their stares. She glared at them and said, I didn't force you. Why are you blaming me? Besides, I don't know if this antidote is useful or not. Whether it's true or not, we will naturally know later. Huang Yingying said, Yuan you will get better soon. Sima Lu Yuan nodded, her eyes flashing. After lying down for so many days, she was finally going to get better. You, grandmother, I'm going to refine the antidote for the 2nd stage. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she bowed to Huang Yingying, turned around, and left. She went out and wanted to find Lang Zhong, but found that he was nowhere to be found. She curled her lips. This guy left? Well, then I'll tell him my way when we meet again. She went back to her room, set up an enchantment, entered the spirit pagoda, adjusted her breathing and restored her divine sense, and then spent a few days refining medicinal pills. She saw that it was still early, so she took out the refining manual in the spirit pagoda and began to read it. At this time, outside the spirit pagoda, those people had already started to make a fuss. "You idiot!" Sima too slapped Miao Shihua to the ground. "How do I know that her antidote is really useful?" Miao Shihua also felt wronged. She is Sima Xiao Qi's granddaughter. You are confused. Even if she is Sima Xiao Qi's granddaughter, there is still Sima Lu Yuan. Sima too shouted, "She doesn't care about others, but can she harm Sima Lu Yuan?" Miao Shihua was taken aback. Yes, Huang Yingying may let Sima Yue harm her own daughter, but would she harm her own daughter? Chapter 1448. After thinking this through, Miao Shihua was filled with regret. What should we do now? That slut refuses to treat Shira now. Miao Shihua cried. Seeing that Sima Lu Yuan and those girls' bodies were getting better and better, Sima Lu Shi and the others were still lying there powerlessly. Her heart ached just looking at him. What else can we do? Of course we have to find Sima Yue to cure them. Sima too said, but that slut has gone into hiding and doesn't want to see us at all. Huang Yingying, that slut, directly said that she would not treat us anymore. Miao Shihua said, feeling wronged. Now that they say they're not willing, the others definitely won't agree. Sima too said, however, those people won't do it. She, and the others are surnamed Sima. Miao Shihua's eyes lit up. That's right. Even if Huang Yingying and the others don't agree, as long as the family says so, they have to agree even if they don't. Then why aren't you doing it? Sima too glared at her. Okay, I'll do it right away. Miao Shihua left. As long as she could save her daughter, she would do anything. Sima Yue was reading in the spirit pagoda. When she was almost done, she took out the items in the pagoda and started practicing. She went to the storehouse and found a cauldron for refining tools. She also took out some materials that were easier to refine. Following the method in the book, she melted the materials into a liquid, filtered out the dregs, and put them in a container. This was a very peculiar container. When the liquid was placed inside, there was a colorless liquid gauge on the outside. Based on the height of the liquid, the purity of the extracted material could be determined. We're only halfway there. It doesn't look good, Sima Yue said. It's really not that good. Little Spirit appeared beside her. My previous master, when he refined for the first time, he reached 60 points, which is 10 points higher than you. That's true, Sima Yue said. It seems like I have to practice harder. This is innate talent. You can't catch up. Little Spirit said disdainfully. Sima Yue pulled him into her arms and used her other hand to caress him. How long had it been since she last saw such a look of disdain? When she first met him, everything she did was despised by him. Later on, as she became more and more powerful, she gradually forgot about the past. Who asked you to look down on me? This is what you get for looking down on me. Only when she messed up the sparse hair on his head did she release him in satisfaction. Little Spirit escaped from the devil's claws and hurriedly hid far away. With a sour face, he said, what I said was the truth. Your innate talent is not enough. You won't be able to catch up the day after tomorrow. I am your master now. Even if my talent is not good, I'm still your master. Sima Yue was not angry. So, what you need to do is to help me learn how to refine weapons as soon as possible, not to doubt my talent. Humph! Little Spirit crossed his arms and turned his head to the side. Don't be so arrogant. Is there any way to increase Yu's talent in refining? Ling Long ran over and pulled Little Spirit's hand, saying, when she learns how to refine weapons, she'll be able to repair me sooner. Back then, when Sima Yue discovered an ancient era's she had promised her that she would increase her strength. So, no matter who it was, no one could stop Yu from refining weapons. Innate talent is what it is. How can it be changed? Little Spirit said, if innate talent is not good, then the day after tomorrow can make up for it. You must have a way, right? Ling Long shook his hand and acted spoiled. Diligence can make up for stupidity. Look at Fatty Chu. Such a stupid person can become a master armament. As long as she works hard, she won't be too bad. Little Spirit said, What he did not say was that his original master was a pervert. It was because of his high innate talent that he created Shurtion and Ling Long ever since he fell. No one was able to surpass him. What Sima Yue did not know was that the average person's first refinement would only have a purity of 30 to 40 points. Those with good innate talent could exceed 40 points. There were people who reached 50 points, but it was very rare. Little Spirit knew this, but he did not tell her and let her mess up her hair. Humph! Although Sima Yue felt that her innate talent was not high, it was not as bad as what Little Spirit said. After all, when she was learning other things, he also looked down on her like this. If it was really bad, he probably would have directly told her not to learn it. It was simply a waste of time. Thinking about this, she was in a good mood. She took the other oars and went to practice. After a few days, she increased the purity of the materials she refined by a few points. Seeing her results, she was very satisfied. Today, she was practicing again when Little Spirit came to tell her that something happened outside. Sima Yue's thoughts moved, and she could clearly see the situation outside. After looking for less than a minute, her face darkened. Hee, you think this is enough? She sneered and said that she would clean up the place and go out. You actually dare to bully grandfather and grandmother like this. Looks like these people are going to be miserable. The beast had already predicted these people's fate. Sima Yue came out of the spirit pagoda, removed the enchantment, and opened the door with a bang. What's with the noise? Don't you know that I'm refining pills? Once she came out, she shouted at the people in the courtyard. Don't you want to save those people? That's good. You can cure the poison yourselves. I'm not doing it. The people in the courtyard were stunned. They were here for her to cure the poison, not for her to go on strike. You're Sima Yue? A white-haired old woman looked at Sima Yue. Her eyes were cold, causing people to feel a bone-chilling coldness. Who are you? Sima Yue looked at the old woman. She was the one who scolded her grandparents the most. This person couldn't be her great-grandmother, right? If so, she didn't want to admit it. I'm an elder of the Sima family. I'm also your great-grandfather's aunt. As the old woman spoke, a wave of pressure came towards her. However, Sima Yue easily blocked it. It's okay, it's okay. Sima Yue patted her chest. What's okay? Everyone saw her exaggerating and asked. It's good that this ugly person isn't my great-grandmother. Sima Yue said, I've always said that my grandfather was handsome. How could he be born with such an ugly face? How dare you? Jiang Shui was still wondering why Sima Yue wasn't intimidated by her pressure. When she heard her say such unpleasant words, she was furious. Did I? I heard you scolding my grandparents as beasts. Other than my great-grandfather and great-grandmother, who has the right to scold them? Now I understand that you must be jealous that my great-grandmother is too beautiful. That's why you scolded my grandparents. Who asked you to be so ugly? Chapter 1449. What does this have to do with your great-grandmother? Of course it has something to do with it. Sima Yue said, my great-grandmother is too beautiful. That's why she gave birth to such a handsome man like my grandfather. You're just jealous of my great-grandmother's beauty. That's why you don't like my grandfather and the others. That's why you said such malicious words. As she spoke, she nodded as if it was true. Nonsense. Jiang Shui had never been insulted by a junior like this. The anger in her heart was difficult to suppress. She wanted to suppress her with her coercion, but she remembered that her coercion had no effect on her. Mother, now is not the time to talk about this. It has been a few days. Those people can already get out of bed. She. Miao Shihua's eyes were filled with tears. On one hand, she really felt sorry for her daughter, and on the other hand, she was regretful. Jiang Shui glanced at her, and the reproach in her eyes made her lower her head. If it wasn't for her, why would she need to come forward? Reproach was reproach, but she still had to protect her juniors. You go and detoxify and the others. She pointed at Sima Yue and said, that arrogant look didn't look like she was asking for help at all. Not going. Sima Yue didn't even bother with her and directly rejected her. Why? I said before that if I don't detoxify them at that time, I won't do it again. Sima Yue said, I see that you're full of confidence. Didn't you say that you're going to find a poison master to detoxify them? Since you know that it's 100 days of sleep, don't tell me you have no way to develop an antidote? Miao Shihua, and those people didn't say anything. She couldn't say that it was true, right? Since you know how to detoxify them, go quickly, Jiang Shui urged. That tone was as if it was her honor to treat Sima Lu Shi. At this time, those people really thought so. Sima Lu Xian was kicked out of the family. They heard that they wanted to come back. If it didn't please them, they wouldn't agree. In their eyes, now was the best opportunity to please them. If you want to go back to the Sima family, you have to detoxify Sima, Lu Shi, and the others. Huh? Sima Yue laughed. Why? The people lying inside are the people of the Sima family. Detoxifying them is what you should do. Really? Sima Yue glanced at Jiang Shui in disdain. They are indeed from the Sima family, but I'm not from your family. You have no right to order me around. To save or not to save is up to me, not you. If that's the case, you and your father can forget about returning to the family. If you obediently detoxify Shi'er and the others, we might consider it. Jiang Shui raised her chin, as if she was bestowing a gift upon them. Who said that I'm going back? Sima Yue said, my dad and I are fine like this. If everyone in the family is like you, even if you invite us, we won't go back. So, if you want to use this to threaten me to detoxify your granddaughter, stop dreaming in broad daylight, lest others say that you're old. Impudent. How could Jiang Shui not hear that she was scolding her? A wave of spiritual energy attacked her. Huang Yingying and Sima Yue moved at the same time and condensed their spiritual energy to block the attack. However, they were a level lower than Jiang Shui and couldn't resist her attack at all. They could only weaken her attack a lot. Seeing the spirit energy enveloping them, everyone present was stunned. Even Jiang Shui herself was the same. She didn't want to kill them. She also wanted Sima Yue to detoxify her granddaughter. If she killed her, then who would detoxify her? No, that pill recipe was not Sima Yue's, but the city lord of Tangerine City. In other words, Lang Zhong also knew the way to detoxify. When the time comes, she could go to him and detoxify Sima Lu Shi. Thinking of this, she calmed down. Since they were already dead, there was no need for her to feel sorry for them. It just happened to follow her thoughts for many years. Her son, daughter-in-law, and great-granddaughter were killed. Haha. Unfortunately, she could no longer see them, but she could reunite with them in the ghost realm. With excitement in her heart, she laughed out loud. Seeing you so excited, we are embarrassed to interrupt your good mood. Sima Yue's voice came, making her smile freeze on her face. How could it be? They didn't die. The dust splashed on the ground dissipated, revealing the three calm people inside. Space lock. The people present saw them and exclaimed in a low voice. Yes, the news that was sent back before said that she was an array master and had great control over space. This space lock was amazing. Sima Yue lifted the space lock. Originally, it was impossible for her to take this move with her strength. However, the separation of her grandparents weakened its power, allowing them to survive. What are you doing? Sima Ji Yuan's voice came, and then a group of people poured into the yard. Sima Yue and Sima Xiuqi were blasted into a large pit, and only the ground where they stood was still intact. Everyone understood what was going on at a glance. Jiang Shui, you actually attacked Yue. Sima Ji Yuan was so angry that his face turned black, and he showed no mercy. That was his precious granddaughter. An old woman like her actually dared to kill her. When Jiang Shui saw Sima Ji Yuan coming in with people, her surprise faded and she calmed down. Faced with his questioning, she was not flustered and said, "Why? I can't kill her. She is my great-granddaughter. Are you going against me by killing her? So what?" Jiang Shui was not flustered. The strong are respected. The weak dare to insult and provoke the strong. Then they should bear the anger of the strong. Sima Ji Yuan, don't tell me you have forgotten the rules of survival in our world. To hell with your rules of survival. You dare to touch my great-granddaughter. That's the same as touching me. You want to kill her? Fine, let's fight. Sima Jiyuan did not care about his identity as the head of the Sima family, and stood in front of Sima Yue and looked at Jiang Shui, ready to attack. Jiang Shui wanted to scold him for being shameless. He was stronger than her, and he had the nerve to say that he wanted to fight with her. Sima Jiyuan was not embarrassed at all. You dare to bully the weak and attack my great-granddaughter. I can do the same to you. Mother, what we need to do now is not to fight with the patriarch, but to think of a way to cure Shi-Er and the others. Miao Shihua said softly. I know. Jiang Shui looked at Sima Jiyuan and said, since the patriarch is here, let's talk about this. What right does your great-granddaughter have to detoxify the poison from your branch families and not our branch families? What are your intentions? Sima Yue laughed coldly in her heart. This accusation was too big. They did not believe her in the first place, and she was unwilling. Now that she said this, it became Sima Jiyuan ostracizing those from the branch family. If these words were heard by the clansmen, the consequences would be very serious. Chapter 1450. There were also people from other branches here. When they heard Jiang Shui's words, sure enough, some of their expressions changed. Their juniors were probably among the ranks of those people. Yu Ma wanted to step forward to explain, but Sima Jiyuan answered her first. I told you a long time ago, don't just stay at home and cultivate. Pay more attention to other things and use your brain. That way, you won't become an idiot. Why don't you listen to me? Look at it now, it's really like this. Sima Jiyuan said regretfully. Puffed. The others did not dare to laugh because of Jiang Shui's prestige in the family. However, Sima Yue did not hold back and laughed out loud. Great-grandfather was cursing in a roundabout way. To be able to say something like that, wasn't he brainless? Sima Jiyuan, I can hear you. Why are you shouting so loudly? Sima Jiyuan dug his ears. Am I wrong? Was it right to scold someone? You're furball. However, before Jiang Shui could say anything, he continued. Yue had clearly refined everyone's antidote pills and distributed them to all of you. But what about you? She was suspicious of this, and that was why she didn't give those maidservants any antidote pills. When it comes to you, it's like Yue only detoxifies the people from these branches, not your people. Tell me, have you become stupid from practicing martial arts? Is that really the case? The elders asked the people around them. Those women lowered their heads and didn't say anything, silently agreeing with Sima Jiyuan's words. If that's the case, then she can't be blamed. He was referring to Sima Yue. Originally, there was no need for the people of the clan to come out for such a thing as the Chu City Convention, but because they had sent letters home in the past few days saying that something had happened here. They also said that because of the family, the matter could not be solved, so they came together. However, he did not expect things to turn out like this. When they returned, they would definitely teach those women a lesson. How dare they lie about the truth? Those women received the reproachful eyes of their ancestors and did not dare to speak. Although they knew that they would be punished when they returned, this was the only way to get them to come and pressure Sima Yue to detoxify their daughters and granddaughters. Sima Yue thought that those angry people would blame her, but she didn't expect them to be so reasonable. Even if it was their fault the first time, but later on, when they repeatedly expressed their apologies and asked her to detoxify the maidservants, Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying deliberately obstructed and evaded. What can we say about this? Isn't that because they don't want to detoxify the poison? That's not right. Since they have already apologized, saving a life is more meritorious than building a 7-storied pagoda. Xiuqi. What's more, this is the younger generation of the family. To be able to call Sima Xiuqi by his name, it seemed like he was from the same generation as Sima Jiyuan. He really didn't expect that such a matter would cause so many elders of the family to appear. It seemed like the other party wanted to make a big deal out of this matter. So be it. Anyway, a barefooted person is not afraid of someone with shoes. The bigger the commotion, the more difficult it would be for the other party to get off the stage. That's not right. She didn't want to see her grandfather being wronged and said, "We agreed on this at the time. Don't regret your choice. It was their choice, so why blame my grandfather? Besides, I've been refining pills in my room these days and haven't seen them at all. I didn't even see them apologize." Her words were very strong and directly slapped that person's face. However, that person wasn't angry and said, "If that's the case, then we apologize to you for what happened. Please detoxify the poison for the girls." After speaking, he even bowed to Sima Yue. What? The Sima family actually had such reasonable elders? She thought that they were all like Jiang Shui. She couldn't get angry with them, but she wasn't willing to just let it go. So her face was still ugly. "I'm not a member of the Sima family. Don't think that I'll give in just because you said that." She snorted. That old man smiled and said, "Of course we know. So, we're not asking you to treat them voluntarily. We're willing to pay you. My payment isn't cheap. Everyone outside knows this. Yes, we'll definitely pay you a satisfactory payment." The old man smiled. Seeing that the other party's attitude was so good, Sima Yue said reluctantly, "All right then, I have to see the payment first. Moreover, I won't treat this person's granddaughter." She pointed at Jiang Shui and said, "She wanted to kill me just now. I don't dare to deal with such a person." "You?" Jiang Shui was furious. She would treat others, but not herself. "As you wish." The old man didn't force her. Anyway, that person wasn't his junior. If Jiang Shui liked to cause trouble, then she would solve this matter herself. The mess in the courtyard told of what had happened just now. It wasn't strange that Sima Yue would make such a request. After all, which professional master didn't have their own temper? Not to mention such an outstanding junior like her. Sima Yue finally smiled. This old man really knew how to act. "If that's the case, then let's talk about the payment. It's not that I want to say this, but the longer this 100 days of sleep poison is delayed, the more damage it will cause to the body and the harder it will be to recover. After all, this consumes one's life force. Moreover, the herbs are extremely precious. Not only are they good herbs, but they are also very rare and hard to find. Sigh, it's hard to say for now. You guys go inside and I'll explain it to you guys." The corners of everyone's lips twitched. Her style had changed too quickly. Didn't she say so much just to extort a sum of money from them? But what could they do? Those women were too short-sighted. They had to pay this sum of money even if they didn't want to. Jiang Shui saw that they had all entered the house, and only the people she brought were left. She was so angry that she stomped her feet. "This little B** TCH, I'll definitely teach you a lesson." Seeing her so angry, Miao Shihua was so anxious that she was about to cry when she thought of Sima Yue refusing to treat her daughter's poison. She had asked someone to pass the message to the elders in the family so that they would oppress Sima Yue. In the end, they didn't say anything and just gave in. What was this? "Mother, that B** TCH won't treat Shear's poison. What will Shear do? What are you crying for? She's not dead yet." Miao Shihua shouted. "It's not only that little B** TCH who knows how to treat the poison. Wasn't the prescription given by the city lord of Tangerine City? Then he should know how to treat the poison too. Even if he doesn't know how to refine the pill, he should remember the prescription. Go and find him. Are you afraid that you won't be able to find the antidote?" Miao Shihua was stunned. "I know that too, but we don't know where that person went. We can't find him at all. This book came from." Chapter 1451. They couldn't find her? Then what was the use of the antidote? Then why aren't you looking for her? Jiang Shui shouted. "Since she's here, she must be in the same city. Send more people and we'll find her." "Yes, I'll go now." Miao Shihua was very afraid of her mother-in-law and left immediately after hearing her words. Sima Yue gave them the antidote after extorting a large sum of money from them. The women were extremely excited after receiving the antidote and turned to detoxify their children. "Don't be in such a hurry to leave," Sima Yue called out to them. They thought that Sima Yue was going to take back the antidote and quickly kept it. "Is there anything else?" Sima Yue nodded and said, "This is only the first antidote. There are 2 more after that. For the sake of my grandfather and the others, if you pay the last 2 at once, I can give you a 10% discount. The women's lips twitched. Discount? Did she think that they would thank her? Since that's the case, we'll pay it all at once. The old man from before said. Sima Yue liked him very much. He was simply too considerate. If there were any changes in the future, they might not be able to pay for the last 2 times. But if they accepted it now, they couldn't go back on their words even if they wanted to. She wouldn't spit out what was in her mouth. Since the old man had spoken, the others could only obediently agree. After all, his status was so high. According to Sima Yue, everyone was a family. Hence, one antidote was worth 500,000 top-grade crystals. 3 pills would be 1.5 million. After deducting the 500,000 that was given just now, the remaining 1 million would be given a 10% discount. Each of them would only have to give her 900,000. When the women took out their wallets, their hearts ached. These were top-grade crystals, and they had to give out 1,400,000 in one go. Their hearts were bleeding. Fortunately, their family was rich and could still afford this. They could just go back and report it when the time came. Since this is your own mistake, then this will go to your private account. After they handed over the money, the old man said faintly. The corners of those madams' mouths twitched fiercely. If they couldn't claim the bill, then wouldn't they have to use their own private money to pay for it? They wanted to protest, but could they? Unless they don't want to stay in the family anymore. He wanted to teach them a lesson, but this lesson was too painful. They looked at Sima Yue. They had learned their lesson and would never provoke her again. Go! The old man waved his hand, and those people all retreated, leaving only the old man behind. Yu, this is your great-granduncle Hishan. Sima Ji Yuan introduced. Yue greets great-uncle Hishan. Sima Yue bowed to Sima Hishan. Sima Hishan nodded his head. Being able to accept, this was a good temperament. Are you satisfied with this? He asked. I'm satisfied. Thank you for your help, Granduncle Zong. Sima Yue could tell that he was helping her on purpose to teach those people a lesson. If it was Sima Ji Yuan who spoke, those people would say that he was biased towards her and would not be so obedient. They might even take the opportunity to attack him. But Sima Hishan was different. He had a high status in the family and was not directly related to her. Those people would naturally not dare to act rashly. If you're satisfied, when will you return to the family? He asked. Sima Yue looked at him. This old fox, so he wanted her to go back. I think this is pretty good. She did not want to go back like this. Come back, the family needs you. Sima Hishan said. The family needs you. With just a few words, he had expressed her importance to the family and made her feel a sense of responsibility. She was still a part of the family. The blood of the Sima family still flowed in her body. As long as the family was not trash, the blood in her body would start to boil with a light touch. I still have things to settle. She said, once I've settled things and am satisfied, I'll go back. But before that, you can't stop me. You want to deal with Jiang Shui's family? That's not for sure. Sima Yue said, who was the one who harmed my father and me? If this matter is not settled, I won't go back. What happened back then is already in the past. Someone said, what happened back then is in the past, and I did survive safely. But this doesn't mean that the grudges from back then have disappeared. Sima Yue interrupted him. If it was you, would you be willing? That person did not speak. If there was a hidden enemy, anyone would feel uneasy. Then can't you talk about it when you return to the family? Someone asked. Of course not. Sima Yue shook her head. When I go back, I'll be in the light and the enemy is in the dark. It's too dangerous. Besides, there are some things that can't be done if I return to the family, right? Everyone's heart trembled. She did not intend to let those people off. As an outsider, even if she killed those people, the Sima family could not force her. But once she returned to the family, she would consider the pressure of the family and would not have so much freedom. Since you've decided, then do as you wish. Sima Hishan said, it's time for the family to be cleaned up. Third brother. How can that be? The family doesn't allow internal strife. The others cried out. Patriarch, what do you think about this? Sima Ji Yuan glanced at those people and said, Lu Xian was chased out of the family. Yue was not listed in the family records, so it's not considered internal strife. This was the reason why Sima Yue did not want to return to the family. All these years, the Jiang family has interfered too much with us. When Sima Hishun said this, the others fell silent. Sai, you're right. Our family should be cleaned up. Otherwise, not to mention becoming stronger, I'm afraid that our surname will be changed to Jiang. Sima Yue listened to their discussion and understood a little. Jiang family? Jiang Shui. It's the woman who attacked you just now. Huang Yingying saw that Sima Yue was a little confused and explained, she's from the Jiang family. In recent years, the Jiang family has interfered a lot with our affairs. Oh, Sima Yue nodded in understanding. So, you want to borrow my hand to deal with the Jiang family? Sima Hishun smiled and did not refute. Seems like it. Sima Yue said, so, we can make a deal. Deal? Yes, you want to borrow my hand. Shouldn't you pay me? Sima Yue said, don't worry, my fee is not expensive. It's definitely good and cheap. I'll settle things beautifully for you. This girl was really, how could she do this? Sima Yue smiled brightly, because another sum of money was going to enter her account. Chapter 1452. She clearly wanted to deal with Jiang Shui too, so this matter was considered her business. How did it become her helping them? You want a reward? It's not impossible to ask for a reward. Sima Hishun looked at her with a smile, which made her have a bad premonition. She instinctively took a step back and said, what do you want? You said you want a reward? I'm thinking of what to give you. Sima Hishun said, your net worth is not low, and this is a big matter. The remuneration will definitely not be low, so the average one won't do. Sima Yue looked at him cautiously. The friendlier this guy smiled, the more dangerous she felt. I'll make my own request. You don't have to think about it, she said. That won't do. Sima Hishun said, you just came back, you don't know our family's background, and you don't know what conditions we can offer. Then, he pretended to think for a moment and said, how about this in order to match your social status? Why don't we use the Sima family as a reward? What? Sima Yue was stunned, and so were the others. Old fox, old fox. Sima Yue gritted her teeth and shouted when she came out of the house. What did he mean by giving her the Sima family as a reward? He obviously wanted her to return to the family and take over the mess. Old fox, old fox. It's great now. Not only is there no reward, there's also a lot of trouble. She narrowed her eyes. Don't think that I'll agree just because of this, you damned old fox. You dare set me up? See if I don't turn this place upside down. Musi watched from the side as she gritted her teeth and cursed. Master, didn't you not agree in the end? What do you know? Although I didn't agree, I didn't get any reward in the end. I even agreed to help them. Sima Yue felt depressed as she spoke. Musi smiled when he saw Sima Yue's expression. Usually, she had everything planned out and was full of confidence in whatever she did. Now that he saw her deflated, her angry little face was quite cute. Master, are you really not going to take over the Sima family? He asked. The other party actually said that he wanted her to be the successor of the clan, a female clan head. This was extremely rare in the entire continent. To the average person, this was extremely tempting. What's so good about the Sima family? It's a bunch of trouble. I don't want it, Sima Yue said in disdain. Before coming to the inner region, she had some fantasies about the Sima family. When she first arrived at the inner region and heard about the general situation, she lost all hope in her heart. Now that she had a preliminary understanding of the Sima family situation, she felt that it was more than just a fantasy. It was simply falling into a deep pit. Now, he wanted her to take over? No way. Then should we leave this place? Sima Yue was stunned. She sighed and said, let's wait a little longer. If he left now, how would he deal with those matters? He couldn't possibly leave his great-grandfather and grandfather to face those wolves, tigers, and leopards, right? Moreover, she had no idea what she was going to do. Thinking of this, she scratched her head and said, this is so depressing. I'm going to go into seclusion. I don't want to see the Sima family, and I don't want to see that old fox. If someone is looking for me, just tell them not to disturb me. After speaking, She flicked her sleeves and turned to leave the courtyard. Musi looked at Sima Yoyue's back. He really wanted to say, "Master, don't you have to go back to your room for seclusion? Why are you going out?" The people in the house felt Sima Yoyue's anger and said nervously, "She'll be fine like this, right?" Sima Jiyuan said with a smile, "Don't worry, nothing will happen. Don't look at Yue like this. She actually has a family in her heart. This girl, you can't use force. You can only surround her with kinship and soften her. But she doesn't want to take over the clan. He-shun, if you do this, she will be very angry. Won't it backfire?" Sima He-shun said confidently, "It won't. She's a loyal and righteous child. But if you really let her be the head of the clan, isn't this a bit inappropriate?" Sima He-shun shook his head and said, "I don't really intend to let her take over the Sima family." "Are you lying to her?" "No, I'm serious. He-shun, we're all confused by you." "There's nothing to be confused about," Sima He-shun explained. "I really want her to take over the clan, but I also know that she won't." "Why?" "She's lazy." "Lazy?" "Yes." Sima He-shun nodded. "I've looked at her experience carefully. Whether it's the club established in the academy, the Heartbreak Valley established, or the current Paramount Valley, the guest elder of the Alchemist Guild, and the deputy leader of the Pill subdivision, it can be said that they were all created by her or centered around her, or they were sincerely invited by her. But she didn't hold a substantial position in any of the forces. It can be seen that she really doesn't care about power and influence. So, the Sima family is also not attractive to her. Then why did you still say that to her? Try it and try my luck." Sima He-shun smiled. "Maybe she'll be crazy and agree. This could also work. Okay, about that matter, you have to instruct them to prepare and don't let anyone find out." Sima Ji-yuan ordered. "Yes, Patriarch." Everyone responded. "Then this time's competition, Sai, they're already like this, it's impossible for them to participate in the competition." Sima Ji-yuan said. "Then the profound moon fruit." Yue said that she would find a way to deal with the profound moon fruit. "Since she knows the whereabouts, if she can't handle it well, we can come forward." "Yes, that's also possible." Lucien really gave birth to a good daughter. That person still wanted to sigh, but before he could finish the last word, he stopped halfway. "Well, this daughter wasn't born by him. She was reborn." "That's not right. Even so, this body was still born by him." "Yue is Yue." Sima Ji-yuan said. "This matter was personally said by Master Lin." "Master Lin said it. What's going on?" "Actually, it's very simple." While they were talking about Sima Yue, she was sitting in the tea house in a very bad mood, looking at the three people who were smiling fakely in front of her. "Miss Sima, what a coincidence. I didn't expect us to meet again so soon." Li Yao said with a smile. "Yeah, it's really a coincidence." Sima Yue said lightly. "Don't think that she didn't know that they had been sending people to monitor her. Now they said that it was fate. Humph. Only a ghost would believe it." "You're alone this time? Why don't I see anyone else?" "You mean Lang Zhong?" She directly exposed their intentions. Reading background default settings: classic light, blue classic light, gray classic green, classic bright yellow, dark blue, ocean, autumn green, elegant red powder, family red talk, thick, sea wide sky, heartbroken past, snow white world, gray world, font color default settings, white red green blue brown, font size default settings, small medium large speed, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 0 mouse scroll description 1 to 10. 1 is the slowest. 10 is the fastest. Chapter 1453. Young, she was a little angry that her true thoughts had been exposed, especially since her voice was so loud that everyone in the tea house knew about it. But the person who monitored her said that he didn't see Lang Zhong leave at all, and now he only saw her and didn't see Lang Zhong. She wanted to see Lang Zhong. She really wanted to see him. So now she could only ask Sima Yue. She suppressed the anger in her heart and smiled. Previously, City Lord Lang said that he wanted to follow you. Now that I haven't seen him, I'm a little curious. Has he already left? I guess so. I haven't seen him for a few days, so he probably left. Sima Yu continued. However, he is someone who always comes and goes without a trace. I'm not sure if he has left or not. You don't know either? Yang, she was a little happy to hear that she didn't know either. If he really liked her, how could he not tell her where he was? This meant that he didn't like her at all. But I think he will come back. Sima Yue did not seem to understand the joy in her eyes as she said matter-of-factly. He said that he would always follow me. I've been in seclusion recently. Now that I've come out, you should be back soon. So this was what she meant when she said she hadn't seen anyone for a few days? Yangshi's face instantly darkened. Sigh, seriously, why do you think he's the city lord of Tangerine City? Pestering me all day? Sima Yue sighed and continued. Can you guys help me out? I'm being pestered to death by him. Sigh, it's so frustrating. Yangshi's hand on her knee suddenly clenched. Was this Beatrice TCH deliberately showing off? We really don't know. Fong Chi said, because we would never shamelessly seduce others. Sigh, this isn't a matter of seduction. My parents gave birth to me as a natural beauty, which is why he stuck to me. Being too beautiful is a headache. Sima Yu sighed. She dared to say that she was seducing people? Then I'll call you ugly. City Lord Lang is not a superficial person. Meaning, if you didn't seduce him, how could he be charmed by you? However, Sima Yue smiled and nodded in agreement. You're right. He's not a superficial person. Otherwise, why would she keep pestering me? Doesn't this mean that not only do I have the looks, but I also have the inner qualities? In a private room on the 3rd floor, 2 women were paying attention to what was going on downstairs. When they heard her praise themselves, the corners of their mouths twitched. He likes such a woman? Ichiyu asked with a smile. How would he know what love is? In Susu said indifferently. That's true. He's always had a low EQ. Especially after that incident, his EQ plummeted. Ichiyu nodded seriously. However, this Yang, she doesn't know his identity. If she knew that Lang Zhong turned out to be your little uncle, would she be so angry that she would vomit blood? She's heard of my uncle's name, but she's never seen him before. Now that he's using a pseudonym, how could she recognize him? In Susu shook her head helplessly when talking about her uncle. Is he gone now? No, I don't know where he is. In Susu said, every time something happens, he hides. I don't know where he is now. He will naturally come out when the game starts. Just like last time, he was also hidden. After many years, his family found out that he had come to Orange City alone. What happened this time? Ichiyu asked. In Susu shook her head and said nothing more. She turned her attention downstairs again and found that Yang Shi and the others had left. She stood up, left the private room, and went downstairs. Ichiyu saw that In Susu was a little anxious, and doubts arose in her heart, so she followed her down. Sima Yue was looking at the street scene outside in a daze. When she thought of the 3 people leaving in anger, her mood improved a lot. I'm in a bad mood now, but they still have to come looking for trouble. She was shrouded by Wai's shadow. She looked up and saw In Susu in black and Ichiyu in a pink dress. She didn't know the one in the pink dress. Wasn't this one in black the woman who was with Lang Zhong on the ship? Was it another one who came to look for trouble? What's the matter? She asked. Do you know where he is? In Susu asked. Lang Zhong? Another one looking for him. She murmured, but I really don't know where he is. She and In Susu did not have any grudges. Judging from the situation at that time, Lang Zhong was still relatively familiar with her, so she did not act like she did just now. I can't contact him, In Susu said. Sima Yue blinked. If you can't contact him, then go to him. It's useless to look for me. If I can't contact him, it means that something happened to him. In Susu did not doubt her words. What I want to know is what happened before he left. She even knew that something happened to him. It seemed that their relationship was indeed extraordinary. If anything happened, it was me who encountered something and he was watching from the side. Then he disappeared. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, if he was really a little strange at that time. Why was it strange? He gave me the prescription for the antidote of the 100 days of sleep. When I refined the antidote, he was gone. Sima Yue shrugged, indicating that she really didn't know. Don't ask me. However, In Susu heard her words and exclaimed, 100 days of sleep? Are you sure it's the 100 days of sleep? What's there to be uncertain about? Sima Yue said, can I still take the antidote of the 100 days of sleep to detoxify other poisons. I see. No wonder this guy is hiding again. Susu murmured, a little worried. She didn't know where he would be this time. Again? Could it be that he had hidden before? Susu looked at Sima Yue. He was interested in her now. Could it be that she was the only one who could contact him? She said her thoughts. Sima Yue shook her head and said, "He didn't leave me a way to contact him, but I can find him. Do you have a way?" "I have a way, but I'm very busy now. I don't have time to look for him." Sima Yue said, "If you find him, I can give you a reward." Sima Yue smiled. "Deal." After a while, the three of them left the tea house and went out of the city. "Are you sure he left in this direction?" Susu looked at Little Black, who was in Sima Yue's arms with uncertainty. Sima Yue got the reward and was in a good mood. When she heard her words, she patted Black's head and said, "Don't worry, Black's nose is the most sensitive. Not to mention that he didn't go far. Even if he returned to Tangerine City now, we can find him by smell. Right, Little Black?" Little Black waved his paw, indicating that this was a piece of cake. Susu looked at Little Black, who didn't have any spiritual energy. She was still a little uncertain, but she could only choose to believe. The reward was not low. Chapter 1454. Sima Yue took them all the way out of the city. After walking for a long time, they finally saw the drunk Lang Zhong in a corner of the mountain. Susu was not surprised to see him like this. She had expected it from the moment she heard about 100 days of sleep. When Ichiyu saw Lang Zhong like this, she exclaimed, "No way, Susu. Your little uncle is actually like this. He doesn't even care about his image." Sima Yue glanced at Susu. It turned out that he was her little uncle. Susu fell down and came to Lang Zhong's side. Instead of helping him, she kicked him. Lang Zhong opened his eyes and glanced at her, took a sip of wine, and muttered, "Susu, why are you here? Lang, what have you become? Get up." Susu pulled a long face and shouted. Sima Yue followed and heard his name. She called him Lang. It seemed that Lang Zhong was just his alias. Lang sat up and shook his head. He was still dizzy. Susu looked at him like this and sighed. In the end, she couldn't bear to see him like this. She took out a medicinal pill and gave it to him to eat and grabbed the wine jar from his hand. Sima Yue glanced at the wine jars all over the ground, smelled the fragrance of the wine floating in the air, curled her lips and said, "If I knew that you wanted to get drunk, you should have bought wine for me. My wine is much better than this." Only then did Lang notice Sima Yue and Ichiyu not far away. "How'd you do it?" he asked without thinking. Neither Susu nor Ichiyu understood what he meant. Sima Yue understood. 100 days of sleep. How did you suppress it? He asked again. What? Susu and Ichiyu looked at Sima Yue in shock. She actually suppressed 100 days of sleep? They also knew about the family back then, so they could understand why Lang had a hangover when he heard about 100 days of sleep. However, this little girl in front of them could actually suppress the poison of 100 days of sleep. This was a poison that even Lang was helpless against back then. It's simple. You just have to gather them together and seal them. Sima Yue said, "Of course, this method of sealing is not something that anyone can do." She sounded confident, but she also had the right to be confident. Ha ha ha. Lang laughed, but she could feel the bitterness in it. "Well, if you want to learn, I can teach you," Sima Yue said. He had given her the prescription for the antidote pill so readily, so she should be more generous and given the method. However, Lang didn't agree or disagree. He just closed his eyes and lay on the ground. After a while, he said, "Susu, you brought someone else here. You've ruined my image." "What kind of image do you have?" Susu kicked him again. The way the two of them interacted with each other was not like that of uncle and nephew, but more like friends of the same generation. Although Sima Yue was a little curious about what had happened at that time to actually make him, who had always been unruly, become like this. However, she always felt that he was too mysterious and too eye-catching. If she got involved with him, it would definitely cause trouble. "Since the person has been found, I won't disturb you from catching up," she said. "Don't worry. Ichiyu pulled Sima Yue. My name is Ichiyu, and this is Insusu. What's your name? Sima Yue. She would know this kind of thing when she went back to the city, so she didn't need to hide it. Ichiyu found that Sima Yue didn't react at all when she heard their names, and said in surprise, You don't know us? Should I know you? Sima Yue asked. Ichiyu was stunned. This was the first time she had encountered such a reaction. Huh? Do you really think that you're already famous in the world? Although Yin Lang's words were sarcastic, there was no irony. Sima Yue understood this time. It seemed that these two people were very famous. I've only been in the inner region for a few days, so I don't know the situation here very well, Sima Yue explained. I knew it. How could there be people in the inner region who don't know us? Ichiyu said, I didn't expect that the people outside are as powerful as you. It's okay outside, but here, I'm at the bottom. Sima Yue said with a smile, without complimenting them or feeling inferior to herself. This neither servile nor overbearing attitude made them think highly of her. My relatives at home don't know that I left and haven't returned for a long time. They should be worried now, so I'll take my leave first. Sima Yue finished and glanced at Yin Lang lying on the ground. The agreement between us is still valid. When you want to know that method, you can come to me. Then can we go to you too? Ichiyu asked. Of course. Goodbye. After that, she nodded to everyone and left with Little Black in her arms. Ichiyu looked at Sima Yue's back, played with her hair, and said, This little girl is not bad. No wonder you followed her. Yin Lang did not answer. He followed her just on a whim, but he did not expect to encounter this thing. Insusu looked at him in silence and said, Grandma died from 100 days of sleep, and now this poison has appeared again. What are you going to do? Do you want to report it to the family? No need. Yin Lang opened his eyes and looked at the blue sky. I have a hunch that if I follow her, I can know what happened behind her. Then you want to go back? Yes. Then you have to be careful. Ichiyu said, We saw Yangshi pestering Sima Yue today to ask about your whereabouts. Yangshi? Who is it? Not long after Sima Yue left them, she found that something was wrong. She just walked for a while. How could she see the city gate? She stopped, looked at the unreal environment around her, and smiled. What was she thinking just now? She didn't even notice such a low-level illusion array. Was she thinking about why Yin Lang was like this? You want to trap me with this illusion array? Sima Yue couldn't think of who wanted to kill her. Although young, she was very suspicious. The competition would start in a few days. If she wanted to kill her, it should be after the competition. Could it be that she had stimulated her so much in the tea house during the day that she couldn't help it? While thinking, she cracked the array. After a long time, she still hadn't cracked the illusion array, so she began to look at it seriously. It seemed that the other party was an expert in setting up an array. She didn't know which enemy had invited this expert. She put away her thoughts. Before she could study this array properly, she saw hundreds of spirit beasts running towards her. F***, so many spirit beasts. She cursed, turned around, and ran. Even if it was an illusion array, if she was attacked, she would be injured. Chapter 1455. Unfortunately, the other party did not intend to give her a chance to escape. When she turned around, she discovered that the scenery behind her had completely changed. The mountain range behind him had disappeared, and instead, it was replaced by a vast ocean. The surging ocean water rose several hundred feet high, and in the middle of the ocean water, there was a huge bloody mouth. F***, this illusion array is really F*** King powerful. Do I have a grudge against a formation master of this level? Sima Yue shouted and stopped running. There was a wolf in front and a tiger behind. Even if he wanted to run, he couldn't. She called out all the beasts. When those beasts saw so many spirit beasts, they cried out, Yu, did you encounter a beast tide? It's not a beast tide, it's an illusion array. Crimson Flame said, However, this illusion array is very powerful. If you're attacked inside, you'll be injured. That's right. Sima Yue said, the attack power of this illusion array is very strong. It will take some time to break it. Therefore, I need all of you. Oh my God, I finally heard you say that she needs us. It wasn't easy, Yaguang exclaimed exaggeratedly. Isn't that so? Every time, we felt that we weren't of much use, but this time, we're finally useful. Come on, let's fight. Each of them blocked the incoming beast so that Sima Yue did not have to worry about the situation here and could focus on studying the illusion array. Outside the array, a group of people looked at Sima Yu and her beasts who were circling around the array. Like I said, I alone am enough, a Wairo-looking man said to Su Chong beside him. Since she was able to kill my younger brother, her attainments and formations are naturally not low. Moreover, the people outside all say that she is very powerful, so we can't let our guard down. Su Chong said. Back then, her younger brother had been killed by that bitch because he had underestimated her. I say, Su Chong, your glacial cloud palace has been destroyed. Instead of hiding, you even called us to kill such a little fellow. Another person said discontentedly, it's the first time that so many people want to kill a little girl. Su Chong, once this matter is over, I won't owe you anything. That's right, Su Chong. We have never bullied the weak before. Don't forget what you promised me. Don't worry. I, Su Chong, always keep my word. You don't owe me anything in the future. As for the few of you, I will naturally hand over the things that I promised you with both hands. Su Chong said. Su Chong, we believe what you said. You know where the glacial cloud palace hides things. A cold-faced, bearded man shouted. I know. I should say that I'm the only one who knows. Su Chong shouted. That's why your life is valuable now. He spoke very straightforwardly, not giving him any face at all. However, Su Chong did not dare to refute. Or rather, he didn't dare to provoke them. Like I said, who would want to kill me? Sima Yu's voice suddenly sounded, interrupting their conversation, only to see the illusion below suddenly disappear, and Sima Yu led a group of beasts to look at them. Didn't you say that your illusion is very powerful? How did she crack it so quickly? Su Chong shouted. The array master was also shocked. He looked at Sima Yue in disbelief. How could this be? Sima Yue looked at Su Chong. He looked 70 to 80% similar to Su Lo. She could see that they were related by blood at a glance. At that time, Big Wei and Little Wei came to find her and told her that Su Lu had an older brother and asked her to be careful. She didn't take it to heart. She didn't expect that he would gather people to kill her. She looked around. She didn't expect Su Chong to bring more than 10 monarch-level experts to deal with her. He really thought highly of her. However, the people he brought were still a little lacking. Sima Yue, you killed my brother. Today, I must avenge my brother. Su Chong shouted. I killed him because he wanted to kill me. Now that you want to kill me, it seems that you want to go down and be with your brother. Sima Yue said, I heard from others that you have a deep relationship with your brother. It seems that it is true. Don't worry, I will definitely fulfill your wish. You're so young, and yet you boast so shamelessly. A man next to Su Chong shouted, If I boast shamelessly, then you don't have any respect for your elders? There's so many people coming to kill me. How can you not feel embarrassed? Sima Yue mocked. We don't want to bully you with our numbers, but we owe Su Chong a favor, so there's some things that we have to do. Oh, stop talking nonsense. Since it's already like this, then let's do it. Sima Yue waved her hand, and all her beasts flew over. Ha ha! There's a saying that says that young people are ignorant. That's you. Those people didn't put Sima Yue in their eyes. She was just a person who had just entered the monarch level. How powerful could her contracted beast be? People had to pay the price for their own thoughts. And these people had to pay a higher price. They even lost their lives. Until they died, they couldn't believe that her beasts were so powerful. In just 2 or 3 exchanges, they were killed. In just 1 round, more than 10 people died. The remaining people were stunned. Su Chong is dead. Do you still want to work for him? Sima Yue looked at those strangers and didn't want to kill them. As they said, they owed Su Chong a favor, so there were some things that they had to do. There was no enmity between them, so she could give them a chance for the first time. However, if they were stubborn and wanted to kill her, she wouldn't be polite. Anyway, she wouldn't let go of those who wanted to kill her. Those people saw the strength of her beasts and were ready to fight to the death. However, they didn't expect that she would suddenly become easy to talk to. We don't have any enmity between us. It's only because of Su Chong that we met today. Now that Su Chong is dead, naturally there is no enmity between us. It seems that everyone is understanding. Sima Yue laughed. In that case, today's conflict doesn't exist anymore, right? Of course. The other party also put away his killing intent and smiled at Sima Yue. I am Lin Haiba from Xingda Sect. Today's kindness of sparing my life, I will repay it in the future. Senior Lin is too polite. Sima Yue returned to salute. Her humble appearance was not as murderous as before. Goodbye. After Lin Haiba finished speaking, he turned and left. He was embarrassed to face her. When the others saw that he had left, they also cupped their hands at Sima Yue. Although they didn't introduce themselves like him, their attitude still explained everything. They ran away quite fast. Little Seven put her hands on her hips. If they dare to do it again, I will make them never see the sun tomorrow. Someone is coming. Sima Yue said, You go back first. What happened? We heard the sound of fighting here. Ichio and the others came over and saw Sima Yue standing among the corpses and asked. Chapter 1456. Sima Yue looked at the corpse on the ground and said, We were ambushed. Ichio saw one or two familiar faces in the corpses on the ground. Unexpectedly, they were all killed by her. Are you all right? Yinlang asked. They're the ones who were in trouble. Even their lives were lost. You brought us here on a whim. How did you get ambushed? In Susu frowned. She was a little uncomfortable with the danger they brought to her. He must have been following me ever since I came to the inner region. I killed his brother, and he's been clamoring for revenge. Sima Yue said, You killed Sulo? Ichio exclaimed. Then aren't you an enemy of the 100-changing gate? The 100-changing doors is still very reasonable. Speaking of which, Big Wei and Little Wei were the ones who told me about this. Sima Yue said. The two of them represented the attitude of the 100-changing doors. You know Big Wei and Little Wei? I do, Sima Yue said. Since it was Big Wei and Little Wei who reminded you, then it means that the 100-changing doors will not pursue the matter of Su Li's death. In Susu said, Do you have a good relationship with 100-changing gate? Ichio asked. Not bad. I've saved some people before. Sima Yue said. She shot out a few flames and burned the corpses on the ground to ashes. However, they discovered that after the flames dissipated, other than the ashes, there were several spatial rings on the ground. Sima Yue went up and kept the space rings without any embarrassment. The inner region is really good. Everyone has such a rich collection. She looked at the items in the spatial rings and said with a smile. When they flew over and saw her from afar, they were worried for a moment. Now, it seemed like she wasn't scared at all. Miss Sima, are you going back to the city? We're also going back. Why don't we go together? In Susu said. No need, I'll send her back. Lang Zhong said. It just so happens that I have something to tell her. Sima Yue smiled at In Susu and said, Then I'll go back with Lang Zhong. In Lang, since you're here, you must be here to participate in this competition. Yue is here to wish you victory. You're not participating? Sima Yue shook her head. Someone like me shouldn't go and embarrass myself. I'm more suited to watch from the audience. Although Ichiyu and In Susu felt that she should shine brightly if she went to participate in the Doctors or Poison Masters, since she didn't want to, they couldn't say anything. In Lang, you have to bring him back. In Susu instructed. Don't worry, Susu. Nothing can happen with him around. Ichiyu took In Susu's hand and urged, Let's go back and prepare for the competition. All right, contact us if anything happens. In Susu looked at Sima Yue worriedly. All right, this something was referring to In Lang's something. Sima Yue glanced at In Lang and nodded, Don't worry. In Susu and Ichiyu left worriedly. Sima Yue looked at In Lang and said, Let's go. If there's anything, go back and wash up first. In Lang saw the disgust in her eyes and smelled himself. There was indeed a very sour smell. Back at the inn where the Sima family stayed, She had just thrown him to wash up when Sima Lu Xian and the others broke in. "Where have you been?" Huang Yingying saw Sima Yue coming back intact, and her nervous heart was relieved. "I didn't go anywhere. When I was walking around the city, I met two friends, and then they were looking for Lang Zhong, so I took them there." Sima Yue explained, not mentioning that she was intercepted halfway. "They said that there was movement outside the city before, saying that they saw your spirit beast." "What's going on?" Sima Xiuqi asked. Actually, it's nothing. When I was outside, I met Su Chong, and then he brought a few people over and said that he wanted to kill me. Do you know that my strength isn't something that ordinary people can touch? So I killed them all." Sima Yue said with a smile, "I was just thinking that it's nothing, so I don't have to say it and make you worry." "You still say it's nothing. They said that you called out all your spirit beasts. Tell me, when will you call out all your spirit beasts?" Huang Yingying glared at her. They have been with her for so long and know her style of doing things. If it was not very urgent or dangerous, how could she call out all her spirit beasts? The situation at that time must have been extremely dangerous. "Grandma, it's all over now. Don't worry about this. You just need to know that I won in the end." Sima Yue took Huang Yingying's hand and said coquettishly, "This matter is completely resolved?" Mu Si was still very worried. It was all his fault that he was not strong enough. Otherwise, he would not have to worry about this. "Don't worry. Su Chong is already dead. There won't be anything," Sima Yue said with certainty. "If there's anything next time, you must tell us, understand?" Huang Yingying urged. "I know," Sima Yue replied obediently. "Anyway, there won't be a next time." At this time, Sima Zhiyuan and Sima Hishun walked in. When they saw Sima Yue, they said, "You came back just in time. We have something to tell you." Sima Yue saw that the two of them were a little anxious. She nodded and led them into the house. "Yue, you killed people outside the city?" Sima Zhiyuan asked. "Yes. What's wrong?" "One of them is from the Jiang family," Sima Zhiyuan said. "Jiang family? Could it be Jiang Shui's family?" "That's right. That's really a coincidence." Sima Yue shrugged. Anyone she killed would be from the Jiang family. It seemed that she and the Jiang family were not compatible. "Why did the Jiang family come? If we get the news, the Jiang family will also get the news." Sima Zhiyuan said, "The person you killed has a high position in the Jiang family. The Jiang family has been coveting our Sima family for many years. Now that there is such a good opportunity, they will not let it go. Then they will come to you to hand him over." Sima Yue asked. "Probably. However, we will not hand him over." Sima Zhiyuan said, "What is that Jiang family? How dare they lay their hands on my great-granddaughter? We are here now to ask you about the cause and effect of this matter." Sima Hishun asked, "We will be able to deal with the Jiang family if we know what happened." Sima Yue told them about how she saved and killed Su Lu, and how Su Chong brought people to take revenge. Sima Zhiyuan and Sima Hishun looked at her helplessly. Saving someone could lead to so many things. Should they say that she was a troublemaker, or that her birth characters were too bad? Sima Yue touched her nose. She didn't want this to happen either. Chapter 1457. Sima Zhiyuan and Sima Hishun both believed that some things were destined. Since the Jiang family brought this matter upon themselves, then there is no reason for them to come to us. Sima Zhiyuan said, "However, according to the Jiang family's current thoughts, I'm afraid that they will use this as an excuse to make a move on us." "Are we weaker than them?" Sima Yue asked. "The two families are about the same, but their ancestors are a little more powerful than our ancestors. If it really comes down to the final struggle, our ancestors will not stand idly by. This is nothing. As long as our ancestors advance, they will not be our opponents." Sima Zhiyuan said. "Yue, is there any problem with that?" "Don't worry. I went out this time to get the profound moon fruit." After Sima Yue finished speaking, she took out a 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit, which was about the same age as the prize of this competition. "Great-grandfather, I think it's better to keep this matter a secret for the time being." "We know this." Sima Zhiyuan held the profound moon fruit excitedly. We will find a reliable person to refine the pill. As long as it succeeds, everything will be easy. As long as the Sima family's ancestor advances, the Jiang family and the rest will be nothing. Since this profound moon fruit has been obtained, let me take it back. Sima Hishun said, "You have been here all this time. If you suddenly leave, I am afraid that it will cause others to speculate." Okay, Sima Jiyuan also thought so. Then you be careful. I will set off now. You will have to resist the Jiang family for a while. Don't worry, I am the patriarch of the Sima family. With me here, what waves can the Jiang family make? Sima Jiyuan said confidently. Sima Hishun looked at him, speechlessly, thinking that it is because you are here that I am not at ease. However, the Jiang family did not dare to make a move on them now. Even if it was more serious, the Sima family would not be afraid. He was just afraid that Jiang Shui would lead people to internal strife. He glanced at Sima Yue. Perhaps, with her here, Jiang Shui would not dare to say anything. Sima Lu, she was a genius of that lineage. Jiang Shui treasured him very much. Otherwise, she would not have come over as soon as she got the news. It seemed that he had to make some arrangements before he left. Sima Yue could tell that although Sima Jiyuan was the patriarch, most of the family matters were still managed by Sima Hishun. No wonder he could say that he would be the successor. After the discussion, Sima Yue sent them out. When she opened the door, she saw Yin Lang being held back by Miao Shihua. "City Lord Lang, I know you have the antidote for the 100 days of sleep. Please give it to us. No matter what you want, we will agree to it." Miao Shihua stood in front of Yin Lang. Her words were sincere, and her expression was sincere. She looked like a good mother who was worried about her daughter. TSK. If she hadn't interacted with her at the beginning, she would have been moved by her expression. However, Yin Lang was not someone who was easily moved. At this time, he had already returned to his usual self. It was impossible to tell that he had run to the mountains to get drunk. He glanced at Miao Shihua and said lightly, "Since you know that I'm the city lord of Tangerine City, then you should know that you don't have what I need. Get out of my way." After saying that, he bypassed her and walked towards Sima Yue. "City Lord Lang, I beg you. I can't live without my daughter." Miao Shihua grabbed Lang Zhong's hand and knelt down at once. "City Lord Lang, I beg you. I only have one daughter. She is so talented, she can't die." Yin Lang waved his hand and shook her hand off and said coldly, "What does it matter to me whether she dies or not? Get lost." Miao Shihua didn't expect him to shake her off directly. She didn't pay attention for a moment, and her whole body was thrown away, and then she fell heavily on the ground. Cough, cough. She choked on the dust that splashed up and kept coughing. "If you continue to pester me, it won't be so easy." Yin Lang glanced at her and strode away, coming to Sima Yue's house. Sima Yue looked at him up and down and said with a smile, "You still look more pleasing to the eye. Come in." Miao Shihua looked up and saw Yin Lang entering Sima Yue's room. She was so angry that she couldn't help but spit out the blood in her throat. "Bitch, she must have told City Lord Lang not to give me the antidote." She cursed bitterly. "Madam," a servant girl came over and helped her up. "Bitch, bitch." Miao Shihua stood up and cursed, looking at Sima Yue's closed door with hatred. "Madam, this Lang Zhong is too insensible. It's fine if he doesn't want to give you the antidote, but how can he throw you to the ground?" The servant girl said discontentedly. "Shut up," Miao Shihua shouted at the servant girl. "If throwing me once can make him give me the antidote, then it's worth it. Now that he won't give it to us, what should we do?" The servant girl was also anxious, seeing that others were slowly getting better. But Sima Lu, she was still lying on the bed without any reaction. As the young Mrs. Personal servant girl, she was also anxious. "Let's go back first." Miao Shihua rubbed her buttocks and said, "We must find a way to make him hand over the antidote." "Madam, you mean?" "Shut up." Miao Shihua glared at the servant girl, turned around, and left with her people. In the room, Sima Yue noticed that the people outside had left and said, "It seems that you will still be in trouble." "Isn't that the trouble you're causing me?" Yin Lang rolled his eyes at her. "What does this have to do with me? I'm not the one who forced you to take out the antidote." Sima Yue took out a kind of spirit fruit that was about the size of a grape and put it on the table. This is good for hangovers. Yin Lang didn't stand on ceremony. He took one and ate it, saying, "If you detoxified her daughter, she wouldn't have come after me. It's not that I didn't want to detoxify her. It's that she didn't want me to detoxify her." Sima Yue said, "Later on, Jiang Shui wanted to kill me. Why should I save the enemy's granddaughter? I'm not that kind. Aren't you afraid that the Sima family will put pressure on you? What's there to be afraid of? I'm not a member of the Sima family. I'll just ignore them." Sima Yue said, "This is the advantage of not going home. Then you don't plan to go back?" "I still have to go back. Father is still attached to this family. But before I go back, I have to settle this matter." Sima Yue said, "How did you suppress the 100 days of sleep?" Sima Yue told him the method to suppress it and also told him a few acupuncture techniques. After she finished, Yin Lang pondered for a while and said, "Your method is indeed very strange. Speaking of which, your medical skills are indeed very good." Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. "Don't flatter me. Tell me, other than wanting to know my method, what else do you want?" Chapter 1458. Yin Lang rubbed his chin and said, "Was I that obvious?" "It's too obvious." Sima Yue said, "Tell me, what do you want?" "Actually, I don't want to do anything. I just want to ask you for a favor." Yin Lang said, "Is someone dying in your family?" Sima Yue asked instinctively. This reaction, "No one in my family is dying." "Oh, then what do you want me to do?" Sima Yue asked. "I want you to take a look at Madame He." Yin Lang said, "Madame He? The sleeping beauty of Cord City?" Sima Yue looked at him in surprise. "Why are you so concerned about that, Madame He? Susu needs that profound moon fruit. Although she has the ability to win this time, it's impossible for her to cure Madame Chu," Yin Lang said. "You want to help her get the mysterious moon fruit?" "Yes. You're such a good uncle." Sima Yue thought that he didn't care about anything when she saw how unrestrained he was. "Your medical skills should be amazing too, right? Why don't you go yourself?" "I've already looked at it, but I haven't figured out the reason either." Yin Lang said it very frankly, without any embarrassment. "Even you can't tell?" Sima Yue was even more astonished. At the same time, she was curious about Madame He's illness. "She doesn't look like there's anything wrong with her at all. She really seems to be asleep. But if it's just sleeping, who can sleep for a few years? That's really strange." Sima Yue wanted to ask if she had also been poisoned by the 100 days of sleep. Most people would not be able to tell that she had been poisoned and would only think that she was sleeping. But thinking about it, if it was 100 days of sleep, he should have been able to tell. Therefore, this reason was also denied. "How is it? Are you interested in taking a look?" Yin Lang saw that she was interested and asked. Sima Yue glanced at him. "You're the one who invited me. It has nothing to do with whether I'm interested or not. However, my fee is very expensive. Are you sure you want to treat me?" "Any problem that can be solved with money is not a problem," Yin Lang said confidently. "Is that so?" Sima Yue looked at Yin Lang and said with a smile, "You're from the Yin family of the 49th state, right?" Yin Lang saw her smile and had a bad feeling. He put his hands in front of his chest and looked at her warily. "What do you want?" Sima Yue was speechless. What kind of expression was that? "If you want me, I can also give in to you." Yin Lang suddenly let go of his hands and looked like he was obedient. "But then, you'll be my woman. In your dreams. Even if you're willing to lie down, I'm not willing to do it." Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. "I want another condition." Yin Lang's lips twitched. What did he mean by he was willing to lie down? Even if that was the case, he was the one at the top. Humph. But when he heard her request, the way he looked at her gradually changed. "Isn't your request a little too much?" Sima Yue smiled. "How can that be? You already said that Miss Susu needs this mystic moon fruit, so this is very important to you. But if you don't have it, I can find other conditions. So, to you, I'm necessary, and to me, you're an option. Are you so sure that you can cure Madame He?" "Of course not," Sima Yue said. "But if I succeed, our deal will be valid. If I can't do anything, then we'll pretend that our deal never existed." Yin Lang was a little hesitant. It seemed that her request was indeed a little too much. Actually, this isn't a pure deal, Sima Yue said. If there's a deal, then there's friendship. You want to be my woman? Yin Lang asked. Sima Yue grabbed a spirit fruit on the table and threw it at him. Other than saying this, he didn't know how to say anything else. Yin Lang caught the spirit fruit and ate it before saying, "All right, then tell me, what kind of friendship do we have? If you need it in the future, I'll naturally help you." Sima Yue said, "Don't think that I'm not strong now, but one day I'll become strong too." "I don't doubt that." Yin Lang said, "I've been waiting for you to say this." He already knew about Sima Yue's situation in the outer and middle regions. To be able to grow to such a height in just a few decades, her future was limitless. Now that she said this, as long as both sides didn't have too big of a conflict of interest, they wouldn't be enemies in the future. While she was still weak, helping her was better than adding flowers to brocade when she grew stronger. Then it's settled. When you're free, I'll bring you to the He family. Let's wait first. When the results of the competition are out, someone might be able to solve this problem. Sima Yue said, "If we go to sea again, Master, he will have to break his promise." "All right, we can wait a few more days anyway." A few days later, the women's competition officially began. In the past, there were many activities for chatting and playing, but now it was all competitions. Sima Yue wasn't really interested in these, but it wasn't a bad idea to understand the situation of the women in the inner regions. The competition this time wasn't very formal, so there wasn't any difference between the preliminary round and the final round. Everyone who participated only had one competition, and then the final result would be handed over to the judges. The judges would choose the best ranking and announce it, and those that didn't do well wouldn't lose face. These judges were all women of the older generation who were highly respected in the inner region. Just like what Huang Yingying said, one of the judges this time was her childhood friend, who was now the vice sect leader of a sect. There was one competition per day. What was different from the previous years was that the doctor competition, which wasn't paid much attention in the past, was on the first day this time. And the content of the competition was to find a bunch of patients, and every one of them was in a coma. The contestants needed to cure their own patients, and the first one to finish would be the winner. Sima Yue, Yin Lang, and the Sima family members sat on the viewing platform, and when they saw the patients lying on the ground, the corners of their mouths twitched, saying, "This master, he can't be thinking of finding a way to cure his wife from these patients, right? It's very obvious." Yin Lang said, "I have some friendship with this He Zhenjiang, and I've seen him and his wife before. It's similar to the rumors outside. He really is someone who loves his wife as much as his life. Now that it's like this, he must be at his wit's end." Sima Yu looked at the grandstand in the center of the opposite side and saw a square-faced man staring at the people competing below, even forgetting to breathe. Seeing that someone had successfully saved his patient, he stood up excitedly and gave orders to the person beside him. That person immediately went down and invited the woman to leave the competition venue. Chapter 1459. Seeing that He Zhenjiang had left, Yin Lang patted Sima Yue's shoulder, indicating for her to leave with him. Sima Yue didn't know what he was going to do. After informing Sima Ji Yuan and the others, she followed him and left the spectator's stand. "Where are we going?" she asked after leaving the arena. "Just come with me." Yin Lang didn't say much. He took out a token and waved it in front of guard. The guard was just about to ask what they needed, but when he saw the sign he took out, he immediately became very respectful and said, "How may I be of service to you?" "Bring me to see your patriarch," Yin Lang said. Sima Yue was a little surprised. Would he agree to meet the head of the He family at this time? But she didn't expect that the guard didn't even question her and directly said, "Please come with me." Then, he led them into a passageway. After walking through the passageway, they were cut off from the clamor outside. Sima Yue tugged at Yin Lang's sleeves. When he turned around, she asked, "You and that He Zhen? Master, he don't just have a simple friendship, right? If it was an ordinary person, how could they possibly have such a token?" Yin Lang smiled at her. "Don't mind these details." Did you set a trap for me?" Sima Yue asked. No, you won't fall into my trap for this kind of thing. I'm telling the truth, Lang said. I don't believe it. It's true. I really can't do anything about her illness. It's also true that Susu came for the profound moon fruit. It's also true that I asked you for help. Oh, I understand now. You know that no one else can treat Madame He, so you came to me to treat her as a last resort. After all, I can even suppress the 100 days of sleep, right? Sima Yue stared at him. Lang chuckled and did not say anything. It was a tacit agreement. Then why did you hide your relationship with Clan Head He? I won't raise the price because of this. She was a little unhappy. This feeling of being deceived made her feel uncomfortable. I'm telling the truth. However, the master of the He clan is rather straightforward. Although we've only interacted a few times, I promised him that I would help him think of a solution. That was why there was this token. It's also so that I can find him directly once I think of a way. Lang explained. Some people can be good friends even if they've only met once or twice. Some people don't feel anything even if they've lived their entire lives. Sima Yue agreed with this point of view. She thought about it and did not dwell on it anymore. When the guard heard the conversation between the two people behind him, he was very surprised. Naturally, he could tell that Sima Yue was a young lady. He thought that she was Lang's servant girl. He did not expect that she was the person Lang found to treat his wife. These guards followed the patriarch and knew a thing or two about Lang. A person who even Lang had to admit defeat definitely had a certain level of strength. At the thought of this, he started to respect Sima Yue. He brought them to a courtyard. The moment they entered, they saw a few women being brought in by the guards. These are the people who participated in the competition. Sima Yue was not surprised to see those women. The patriarch said to let them try. The guard said, with just these people, I think it'll be difficult. Lang shook his head. He is really at his wit's end now. When He Zhenjiang came in, he was a little surprised to see Lang here too. I saw you on the spectator stand just now. Why are you here now? I saw that you brought people here and guessed that you wanted them to try, so I came to take a look. Lang also put away his usual sloppy appearance, and his eyes were more serious. I'll let them try first. After He Zhenjiang finished speaking, he said to the dozen women in the courtyard, you all finished first in this competition. I think your medical skills should not be low. I'm sure everyone knows about this competition. No matter your ranking, as long as you can save my wife, that 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit will belong to you. Hearing about the 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit, those people were a little excited. It seemed that they were all here for this thing. Patriarchy, don't worry. We will do our best to save your wife. A woman in a white dress walked out and bowed to He Zhenjiang. Can you let us see your wife now? Only when we see her can we know about your condition. That's right. Everyone, please follow me. He Zhenjiang brought them into the house behind him. Sima Yue watched the woman in the white dress walk in with her head held high and said, it seems that she is very confident in herself. To be able to be the first to cure her patient in this competition, it means that she has some skills. However, if she is so confident now, she will be slapped in the face later. Lang sighed. Why are you so sure that she can't? Who knows, he might have a way to cure Madame He. Sima Yue said, see, you will know in a while whether I am right or not. Lang didn't argue with her. Sima Yue didn't understand these people and didn't know about Madame He's illness, so she didn't say anything and waited for the final result. They still need a while. Let's go to the pavilion over there and wait. Lang said and went to the pavilion first. Soon, a guard brought them tea. This tea was not bad, but unfortunately, the technique wasn't good enough, so the taste wasn't very good. Sima Yue drank a mouthful and put it down. This tea is a rare, spiritual tea. You could try drinking 2 more cups. Lang drank a cup himself. He was quite fond of this tea. I know. It's a pity that the taste of this tea wasn't brought out to the best. Sima Yue said truthfully. So you were saying that you are quite knowledgeable about tea? A little. Then when are you going to brew it for me? No, I only brew it for my sweetheart. He said that he's not here, so I can't brew it for anyone else. I'm not anyone else. Lang protested softly. Sima Yue glanced at him and said lightly, you're about the same. Was she saying that he was about the same as everyone else? He didn't know why, but when he heard her say sweetheart, he felt a little uncomfortable. This feeling was very strange, and he had never felt it before. Because of this strange feeling, he felt a little disappointed. He didn't say anything while waiting. After about an hour, the door opened, and the group of women all came out with their heads lowered. Patriarchy, please let me try again and check a few more times. I believe that I will definitely be able to find the reason why Madame is unconscious. Even though the woman in the white dress was begging, she still had a high and mighty look on her face. Chapter 1460. Hearing the woman's request, He Zhenjiang nodded and said, I also believe that you have the strength. You can go rest in the courtyard first. We'll see later. Men, take the girls to rest. Two servant girls walked over and said, Ladies, please follow us. After those women left with the servant girls, He Zhenjiang walked over and said apologetically, I've kept you waiting. Yin Lang lifted his chin at Sima Yue and said, How is it? Am I right? What? He Zhenjiang was confused. I said that those people couldn't tell the cause of your wife's illness, but she didn't believe me. Yin Lang said. He Zhenjiang looked at Sima Yue and wondered when Yin Lang got together with a woman. Moreover, it was a young lady. Yin Lang, this is? Her name is Sima Yue, Sima Lu Xian's daughter. Yin Lang introduced. Are you that little baby? He Zhenjiang was a little surprised. He immediately felt that he was being too rude. He smiled and said, I've seen you before. Sima Yue stood up and bowed towards He Zhenjiang. Yue greets family head he. My father also said that family head he saved his life back then. If I see him, I must thank him properly. It was just a small matter back then. I didn't expect your father to still remember. He Zhenjiang saw that Sima Yue was very polite and didn't have the temper of a young lady, so he liked her a lot. Yin Lang looked at Sima Yue and shouted, You actually set a trap for me. So the two of you already know each other. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, When did I set you up? This is indeed my first time meeting family head he. Our deal has nothing to do with this, right? What's more, you didn't say that you were close. But, according to your character, even if I didn't look for you, you would still come, right? There's no conflict, Sima Yue said. What did you say? Why can't I understand? It was Yi Zhenjiang's first time seeing Yin Lang talk to a woman like that. Moreover, the content of the conversation seemed to involve him. Actually, it's nothing much. Yin Lang told him about their deal. He Zhenjiang was shocked when he heard that Sima Yue was here to treat his wife. How could a little girl cure his wife? However, Yin Lang would not joke about this matter. He said that he wanted her to try, which meant that she did have a certain level of ability. I didn't expect Yue to be here to treat my wife. My apologies. He cupped his hands at Sima Yue. Uncle He, you're too courteous. Sima Yue also changed the way she addressed him, and the two of them became closer. Since you're here to see my wife, please. He Zhenjiang knew the purpose of their visit, so he couldn't wait. Uncle He, please. He Zhenjiang brought her and Yin Lang into the room. The moment Sima Yue entered, she saw a beautiful woman lying on the bed with her hands folded in front of her chest, as if she was really asleep. She's still the same after so long. Yin Lang sighed. Uncle He must be using ginseng, red fruit, and other precious herbs to keep Aunt He alive every day. Sima Yue continued. In addition to the spiritual power in Aunt He's body, the energy needed to maintain her body is maintained. That's why her body is in good condition. He Zhenjiang was shocked. She was right. How did you know? I smelled it. Sima Yue continued. There's a faint smell of herbs in this room. You just smelled it and you knew? Then you. After the shock, he was elated. The smell in the room was very faint. Those people couldn't smell it before, but she could. This meant that her ability was much higher than those people. She might really be able to cure his wife. Uncle He, don't be anxious. Whether it works or not, you have to wait for me to check first. Sima Yue said. Okay. Quickly check on her. He Zhenjiang quickly moved aside. Sima Yue sat beside the bed and grabbed Su Lunyan's hand. She inserted her spiritual power and checked again. He Zhenjiang held his breath at the side. He looked at Sima Yu without blinking. Seeing her frown more and more, his heart was slowly disappointed. Those people from before had the same expression. They stood up and said to him, "I'm sorry. I'm too weak. I can't tell what's wrong with your wife." Now she was the same. Was he going to be disappointed again? Yin Lang patted his shoulder and comforted him. "It's okay. This isn't the first time." He Zhenjiang smiled bitterly. Sima Yue heard him and didn't say anything. She continued to check for a while before standing up. He Zhenjiang was prepared to hear her say that she couldn't do anything. After waiting for a while, she didn't say anything. "Yue, how is it? Can you tell?" Yin Lang asked first. Sima Yue was still frowning. She didn't shake her head or nod. "Uncle He, I'm a little confused. I need to verify it." Sima Yue said. "How do you want to verify it?" It was good that she didn't say that she couldn't do anything. "I need to put my divine sense into Aunt He's sea of consciousness." Sima Yue said. "What?" Not only was He Zhenjiang shocked, even Yin Lang was shocked. "I need to enter Aunt He's sea of consciousness to confirm if my deduction is correct." Sima Yue said. "However, the sea of consciousness is too important to a spiritual master. So, I need your permission." He Zhenjiang was hesitant. If there was a problem with the sea of consciousness, it would be the end of this spiritual master. The previous doctors never said that they needed to enter the sea of consciousness to check. Now that she said that, he couldn't make up his mind. Sima Yue understood his concerns and said, "Uncle He, you don't have to rush to make a decision. Didn't you organize the women's meeting this time? Maybe someone can solve it later. You can wait until the meeting is over. If no one can cure Aunt He, then you can make a decision. Anyway, we won't be leaving Cord City anytime soon." That's good too. He Zhenjiang still didn't believe in Sima Yue's ability. After all, she was too young. Sima Yue wasn't angry. Who would believe a person they just met, especially a young girl? "Then we'll take our leave first. If it doesn't work, I'll come again." "Okay, I'll send you out." He Zhenjiang sent Sima Yue out. He waved his hand and the butler walked over. "Send someone out to check on Sima Yue." He Zhenjiang ordered. "Master, you don't believe her?" The butler asked. "It's not about whether I believe her or not. If her medical skills are really good, then we can give it a try." He wanted to give it a try, but he was afraid that Sima Yue didn't have the ability, so it was better to check on it. "I'll do it now." Sima Yue didn't know about this. She returned to the inn with Yin Lang. Just as they walked into the hall, they heard Sima Yuan's scolding voice. Chapter 1461. Sima Yuan, are you going to hand her over or not? A white-bearded old man shouted, looking at Sima Yuan with a frosty expression. Sima Yuan rubbed his ears and said, "Don't shout so loudly. The building is going to collapse." Sima Yuan, don't talk nonsense. Sima Yue killed my grandson. Today, you must hand her over to me. Jiang Yunlong shouted. Your grandson went to kill my great-granddaughter. He was too weak and was killed by my baby. You still have the nerve to ask me for her? Aren't you embarrassed? Sima Yuan said. I remember that your grandson is a few hundred years older than my great-granddaughter, right? TSK, you still have the nerve to ask me for her. You want everyone in the inner circle to know that your Jiang family can't even catch up with the junior of my Sima family, right? Now that the young one is dead, the old one is here. TSK, how embarrassing. Even I feel ashamed for you. Don't give me so much nonsense. I'm just asking you. Are you going to hand him over? Fuck your sister. Is my precious great-granddaughter someone that anyone can touch? Sima Yuan slapped the table, looking as if he was saying, what can you do if I don't hand it over? Sima Yuan, are you trying to start a war between the two families? Jiang Yunlong laughed coldly. Let's fight then. Who's afraid of who? Sima Yuan said unconcernedly. Didn't you want to take over my Sima family since a long time ago? Bring it on then. It's not certain who will have the last laugh. What arrogance. Don't regret it. Regret? What have I, Sima Yuan, ever regretted my actions? Sima Ji Yuan rubbed his nose and flicked his booger into the teacup in front of Jiang Yunlong. Humph. Then you'll have to suffer the wrath of the Jiang family. With that, he got up and left with the Jiang family members in a huff. When Sima Yue heard them coming out, she was about to go and meet the Jiang family when her arm was suddenly grabbed and pulled into the alley beside them. Grandma? Sima Yue was surprised by the person who grabbed her. You don't have to talk nonsense with those mad dogs. Huang Yingying said, if you come forward, they will definitely not let you go. Your great-grandfather asked me to wait for you here. With this delay, when they went out again, the Jiang family had already left. Sima Yue entered the inn and saw Sima Ji Yuan sitting on a chair drinking tea. There was not a single trace of worry or anger on his face, and he looked extremely relaxed. Seeing them enter, he even waved at Sima Yue and said with a smile, Yue, you're back. Great-grandfather, why are you back so early? Sima Yue walked over. We came back after you left for a while. There's nothing to see. Sima Ji Yuan said, what did you do? You came back so late. I want to see Aunt He. Sima Yue said, you want to see that sleeping beauty? How is she? Can you treat it? Sima Ji Yuan asked. At this moment, Sima Lu Xian also walked out from behind and looked at her, wanting to know the answer. Her situation is a little strange. It's not something I've encountered before. Sima Yue said, I haven't confirmed the cause of her illness, so I don't dare to make a conclusion now. Even you don't know? Huang Yingying exclaimed in surprise. In the past, they still doubted Sima Yue's medical skills, but after knowing about her, they had a new understanding of her medical skills. If even she didn't know, then she really didn't know the cause. However, everything had a reason, and this illness was the same. So, it wasn't that there was no cause, it was just that they hadn't found it yet. I have some ideas, but I haven't confirmed it yet. Sima Yue said. Why? Sima Lu Xian asked. The final examination will only be done when we enter her sea of consciousness. I told Uncle He to wait for those people to try before making a decision. Sima Yue said. Now that she said that, everyone understood. Everyone knew how important the sea of consciousness was to a spirit master, so they naturally had to consider it carefully. Then let's wait and see. Maybe someone can do it. Sima Ji Yuan said. I have some thoughts too. Sima Yue said, if someone can cure it, I won't have to take this risk. But those people, forget it. You'll definitely have to do it in the end. Yin Lang said, how can you be so sure? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Doctors have the most hope, but you saw those people today. The people behind them won't be better than them. Yin Lang said confidently. He was just short of saying that if even he couldn't do it, how could others? I think so too. Sima Ji Yuan said. It seems like Madame He's illness is very serious. Maybe it's not an illness. Sima Yue said in confusion. Not an illness? Then what is it? What is it? I'm not sure now, so it's hard to say. Sima Yue said, I'll tell you when I'm sure. Everyone looked at Sima Yue, curious about Su Lunyan's illness. If it was a normal illness, she would have said it long ago. But since she said it now, the cause must be too strange. Great-grandfather, the Jiang family. You don't have to worry about the Jiang family. We have our own plans. Sima Ji Yuan said, don't worry. You're my great-granddaughter. No one will dare to do anything to you. Yes, Yue, you don't have to do anything about this. Sima Xiuqi said, wait until we're all down, then you can talk about this. Yes, although you're not in the family tree now, you're still a member of the Sima family. We won't let the Jiang family touch you. That's right. Sima Yue still wanted to say something, but when she saw Sima Ji Yuan's attitude, she felt warm in her heart. Although most people thought that she was very talented and was the hope of the family's future, at least they were protecting her at this moment. Great-grandfather and grandfather also sincerely wanted to protect her. Sima Yue also went to watch the later competitions. After every competition, the top 10 would be asked to leave in advance. During the alchemy competition, she paid special attention to it. In Su, Ichiyu, and Yang, she all participated, and they even got the top 3. Yin Lang was very confident in In Su and was sure that the first place would belong to her. The final result was as he expected. The first place was indeed her. Sima Yue saw them being asked to leave and thought that this was probably He Zhanzhang's last hope. However, this last hope was also shattered because He Zhanzhang personally came to invite her. Yue, please help. As soon as He Zhanzhang saw Sima Yue, he bowed 90 degrees to her. Uncle He, please get up. Sima Yue stepped forward to help him up and asked, Uncle He, have you thought about it? Chapter 1462. I've already thought it through. If I don't try, she'll be like this forever. If you try, you might still have a chance to survive. He Zhanzhang said, Also, I already know that your medical skills are indeed very good. Now, I can only hope that you can help me. He did not hide the fact that he had sent someone to investigate Sima Yue. Sima Yue was not surprised at all. No one would believe a person who had no idea what was going on. Since Uncle He has already decided, then let's go. Sima Yue said. Previously, He Zhanzhang was worried that Sima Yue would put on airs. After all, he didn't believe her last time and even sent someone to investigate her background. If it was an ordinary person, they probably wouldn't be so willing. Therefore, when he heard Sima Yue's words, he was both excited and ashamed. Please, he brought Sima Yue to his residence. The Sima family was worried and followed them. Yinlang also went over very consciously. He Zhanzhang asked the others to stay in the courtyard and brought Sima Yue into the house alone. I had them all try, but no one could see anything, he said. Can you tell me the results of your examination? My idea is a little ridiculous before it's confirmed. I'll tell you after I confirm it. Sima Yue did not dare to make any assertions. Do you need me to do anything? He Zhanzhang asked. You don't have to do anything. You can wait outside, Sima Yue said. He was worried about her entering Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness with her divine consciousness. Similarly, she was worried about doing such a dangerous thing when there were outsiders around. He Zhanzhang hesitated for a moment and nodded. All right. Thank you, Uncle He. Thank you for your trust. He Zhanzhang went out, and Sima Yue called out Little Seven. I need your help, Sima Yue said. Yue, what do you want me to do? Little Seven was very happy that she had something to ask of her. The mist that you condense has the effect of restoring one's consciousness. I need you to protect her sea of consciousness as much as possible when I enter her sea of consciousness. Sima Yue said. That's easy. Little Seven agreed. Sima Yue set up 3 barriers consecutively. Firstly, it was to prevent anyone from ambushing her at this moment. That would not only hurt Su Lunyan, but also her. The second reason was to prevent Little Seven's aura from leaking out. When everything was ready, even Little Seven condensed a faint fog that lingered above Su Lunyan's head. All that was left was for Sima Yue's consciousness to enter her sea of consciousness. Sima Yue stood beside the bed and took a deep breath. This was not the first time she had probed into someone else's sea of consciousness, but it was the most careful she had ever been. She knew that her consciousness was stronger than others, so when she probed into someone else's sea of consciousness, she would not be hurt. She didn't care if the others were injured or not, because those people were already half dead. However, it was different this time. She could not only care about herself, she had to take care of Su Lunyan. If her actions were too big and hurt her sea of consciousness, then she would probably never wake up. She condensed her consciousness and entered Su Lunyan's brain from her forehead. Very quickly, she arrived at her sea of consciousness. Just as she guessed, Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness had become a dead sea. There were no movements at all, as if it was silent. Through her divine sense, Little Seven could also see the situation here. Yu, her sea of consciousness is very strange, Little Seven said. Sima Yue walked around and did not feel any aura at all, as if there were no signs of life. However, Su Lunyan was indeed alive. So, there should be movements here. However, there was nothing here. Yu, what happened to her? Little Seven asked. Your aura has spread throughout her sea of consciousness. Do you feel anything different? Let me feel. Little Seven finished her sentence and Little Seven's aura floated in Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness. After a while, Little Seven's aura retreated to the side and slowly condensed into her appearance. Yu, I noticed a black area in the depths of her sea of consciousness, Little Seven said. Sima Yue did not feel anything when she checked it previously. Is there anything special there? She asked. I can feel a weak fluctuation from that black thing. Little Seven said, bring me there to take a look. All right. Sima Yue's consciousness and Little Seven's aura came to the place that Little Seven found. It was in the depths of Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness. They slowly got closer and realized that there was something blocking them outside the black thing. It's this. You look, there's a weak movement inside. It seems like something is trapped inside. Little Seven pointed at the black thing and said, Ghost Clan, Sima Yue said. What? Why did she suddenly mention the Ghost Clan at this time? This black thing has the aura of the Ghost Clan on it, Sima Yue explained. Aura of the Ghost Clan? Why would there be this in her sea of consciousness? Little Seven said in shock. Sima Yue did not answer her, because she did not know the answer to this question. She stared at the black thing for a while before saying to Little Seven, let's go out. After retreating from Su Lunyan's consciousness, Little Seven Sima Yue then opened her eyes. Yu, do you know why she's unconscious? Little Seven asked. It seems like this matter is a little tricky. Sima Yue sighed and kept Little Seven back into the spirit pagoda. She then removed the barrier and opened the door to leave. The people outside had been waiting anxiously for a day and a night, especially He Xinjiang. He did not expect Sima Yue to take so long to check. After such a long time, if she had been in Lunyan's sea of consciousness, how was Lunyan now? Did she get hurt again? He was getting more and more anxious as he waited outside. He wanted to go in and take a look, but when he saw the barrier that Sima Yue had set up outside, he controlled himself. Even a barrier was set up. It meant that the situation inside was not good. If he harmed the two of them because of his rashness, it would be too late for him to regret. The others in the courtyard were also anxious, but they were more worried about Sima Yue. When they knew that Sima Yue was going to enter Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness, they were all shocked. In this situation, if she was not careful, even she would get hurt. However, they could not stop her and could only hope that she would be fine. When she opened the door, the people outside swarmed in. The Sima family heaved a sigh of relief when they saw that she was fine. He Xinjiang was also happy when he saw that she was safe. Does this mean that Lunyan is fine too? Yue, have you found the cause? Chapter 1463. Everyone looked at her, waiting for her answer. The doctors and alchemists who lived in the He clan heard the news from somewhere and all ran over to stay in the courtyard. They didn't believe that a little girl would be able to find the reason for something that even they couldn't solve. They stood at the edge of the courtyard and looked at her, waiting for her to tell them the result. Sima Yue did not expect to see so many people the moment she came out. She frowned subconsciously. Why are there so many people? She was unhappy. The housekeeper behind He Xinjiang didn't wait for him to speak and said, Master, I'll take them down. He Xinjiang waved his hand, and the housekeeper immediately went to invite those people out. When the courtyard was quiet again, Sima Yue said to He Xinjiang, let's talk inside the house. It's best not to let anyone get close. He Xinjiang didn't need to say anything. The butler immediately ordered people to isolate the courtyard. The Sima family also came in. He Xinjiang didn't say anything. Yue, have you found anything? He asked again. Yes, Sima Yue said. Really? This was He Xinjiang's most emotional moment in the past few years. He grabbed Sima Yue's hand. What happened to Lunyan? Since you've already found out what happened to her, why hasn't she woken up yet? Although I've found out the reason, I haven't saved her yet. Sima Yue said. Why? He Xinjiang was puzzled. Is it because you're too tired? No. Sima Yue shook her head. Before that, I like to ask, how did Auntie fall into a coma? Under what circumstances did he fall unconscious? He Xinjiang recalled for a moment and said, at that time, She went out with the servant girls and encountered a sneak attack. By the time I rushed over, those servant girls were all dead. She was the only one who was lucky enough to wait until I arrived, because she had a spiritual jade protecting her. Later on, I used a lot of pills and finally healed her injuries, but she ended up like this. So you didn't see the person who hurt her? Sima Yue asked. I really didn't see anything. But I've never given up on the investigation. He Zhenjiang said, why? Does it have anything to do with his coma? Yes. Sima Yue said, I suspect that the attack had something to do with the Ghost Clan. Ghost Clan? Why is the Ghost Clan involved? Huang Yingying frowned. Because of Sima Lu Xian, the Sima family had the greatest relationship with the Ghost Clan. Similarly, they didn't want to be involved in the affairs of the Ghost Clan. He Zhenjiang was also shocked. From the information he found, this had nothing to do with the Ghost Clan. The reason why he is unconscious is not because her internal injuries have not healed, but because her soul is held in the depths of her consciousness. Sima Yue said, and the place where her soul is held emits the aura of the Ghost Clan. How could this be? He Zhenjiang was stunned. Is there any way? There is a way, but it's too risky. Sima Yue said, and I need to make some preparations. At least, her mental strength must be at its best. At this moment, she was already very tired and wasn't suitable to treat Su Lunyan. Is it very troublesome? Huang Yingying asked. It's not easy, Sima Yue said. Auntie's soul is already very weak. Now that it's imprisoned, it's not that easy to rescue her from the imprisonment. Fortunately, my body is special, so I dare try. If it's someone else, they would be injured as soon as they get close, not to mention rescuing her soul. Everyone understood that she was referring to the blood of the Ghost Clan in her body. How did your wife get involved with the Ghost Clan? Sima Xiuqi asked. No, according to the information we found, it has nothing to do with the Ghost Clan. It only involves some forces in the inner regions. He Zhenjiang said. Which force? He Zhenjiang hesitated and said, 16th State's Yang family. Sima Yue's heart skipped a beat. Yang family. Could it be that Yangshi's family? Are you sure it's a Yang family? She asked. Based on the current clues, yes. He Zhenjiang said confidently. Could it be that the Yang family is colluding with the Ghost Clan? Sima Zhiyuan said what everyone was thinking. And this was also very likely. But why would the Yang family want to deal with Aunt He? Sima Yue didn't understand. I don't know about this either. I'm afraid we can only find out when she wakes up. He Zhenjiang finished speaking and looked at the person on the bed guiltily. After so many years, he didn't know that her soul was trapped by the Ghost Clan. He had let her down. Sima Yue saw He Zhenjiang's gaze and was moved. Uncle He, you don't have to feel guilty. If it wasn't for your persistence, Aunt He wouldn't have been able to hold on until now. She comforted. I think Aunt He has never blamed you. You don't have to blame yourself. Aunt He wouldn't want to see you like this when she wakes up. He Zhenjiang didn't expect to be comforted by a junior, but her sincere gaze didn't make him feel embarrassed at all. Such a considerate junior. No wonder Sima Zhiyuan treasured her so much. When can you get her to wake up? I need to recover my mental strength. I also need to prepare some pills for her to take when she wakes up. So, I still need some time to prepare. Sima Yue said. Whatever you need, I have it in the storeroom. You can just take it directly. All right. Sima Yue didn't stand on ceremony. Since she was treating his wife, she had to bleed a little. The steward brought her to look for the herbs she needed. Once they arrived at the storeroom, she then knew that the He family was indeed a wealthy family. The storeroom was huge, and the collection was rich. She saw many treasures in the storeroom and thought, did the Yang family want to deal with Su Lunyan because he was too rich? Then she smiled. The collection was considered a lot in her eyes, but it might not be in the eyes of others. The Yang family definitely wouldn't deal with Su Lunyan because of this. She brought the steward to take some herbs. She let the steward take all of them and didn't touch any of them herself. She chose the herbs and came to the room that He Zhenjiang had prepared for her. She refined all the herbs into pills. Then she drank some soul wine and meditated to adjust her mental strength to the best state. She came to Su Lunyan's room. Once Zhang saw her, he stood up excitedly and said, "Can we begin?" Sima Yue nodded. Just like the previous time, she chased everyone out of the room. She set up a barrier and called Little Seven out. Little Seven, just like the previous time, you have to protect her sea of consciousness. Sima Yue said, "There might be a bigger fluctuation. You have to be extremely careful." Yu, don't worry. Little Seven nodded seriously. Since Yu wanted to save her, she would definitely cooperate. Chapter 1464. Sima Yue nodded at Little Seven and signaled to begin. She then extended her consciousness into Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness again. When she condensed in Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness, Little Seven's figure also appeared beside her. You go. I will protect her sea of consciousness." Little Seven said, "Yes." Sima Yue flew towards the depths of her sea of consciousness and stopped when she was close to the black ball. She stretched out her hand to touch the invisible barrier. Even though it was a manifestation of her spiritual consciousness, she could still feel a bone-piercing cold. She frowned and didn't continue. Little Seven asked curiously, "Yu, what's wrong?" "I was wrong. This isn't ghost aura, it's death aura." Sima Yue's expression was solemn. "What's the difference?" Little Seven didn't understand. Death chi is something that all dead people carry. Ghost chi can only be found in the ghost realm. Sima Yue said, "To put it simply, the person who attacked, and he was not from the ghost clan, but a ghost left behind in the human realm." "How is this possible?" Little Seven exclaimed. "It is indeed impossible." Sima Yue narrowed her eyes and looked at the black thing with a dangerous gaze. After a person dies, if the soul is strong, it will not dissipate immediately. Instead, it will enter the ghost realm and live there. It was because there was death energy and ghost energy there, able to grant them a second life. Although those souls would not carry the memories of their lives after arriving in the ghost realm. But at the very least, he was still alive. Logically speaking, all souls would enter the ghost realm. If some method was used to control the ghosts here, they would not be able to survive because there was no death aura or ghost aura here. Not to mention, he could even cultivate it to the point where he could injure others. Yu, are you sure?" Little Seven asked. If this was true, then it was too terrifying. "I can still tell the difference between ghost chi and death chi." Sima Yue said, "However, no matter if it's the chi of death or the chi of ghost, it still has to bow down to me." Those domineering words did not sound out of place at all. It was as if she was a natural king. She stretched out her right index finger and touched the layer of obstruction. The chi of the ghost clan in her body was transferred into Su Lunyan's body. Usually, when the chi of the ghost clan entered a human's body, it would cause the body's body to resist. But Su Lunyan's soul was imprisoned. There was no reaction at all. However, it didn't mean that there was no harm. Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness was invaded by the ghost aura, and her brain fluctuated violently. If it wasn't for Little Seven's protection, her sea of consciousness would have withered instantly. Of Yu's Yoyu's chi. To Yue, Yoyu's use it. Why of Yu? Yu. Sima Yu transformed her aura into a large net and quickly trapped the death aura. Yu. With a thought, the big net started to close slowly. Following its actions, the chi of death became lesser and lesser. All of it was absorbed by the big net. As the chi of death became lesser, the black color became lighter. Sima Yue could already see the person trapped inside. She kept her chi of ghost only after absorbing the last bit of chi of death. Little Seven did not need to spend too much effort to protect Su Lunyan's mind. She ran to Sima Yue's side. This is her soul. It looks so pale. Little Seven looked at the unconscious soul. As she was injured, her soul was only a faint shadow. It looked as if it would disappear at any time. Why isn't she awake yet? Her soul has been imprisoned for so long, and she is in a deep coma. It won't be easy for her to wake up, Sima Yue said. Then what should we do? Of course we have to wake her up, Sima Yue said. She flew to Su Lunyan's soul and placed her hand in between her eyebrows. A milky white spiritual power was transferred from her fingertip to Su Lunyan's soul. As the white spiritual power flowed throughout her body, her soul started to solidify. Sima Yue was having a hard time. Little 7, protect her. After Sima Yue finished her sentence, her fingertips shone brightly. Su Lunyan's soul gave out a dazzling light. It was so bright that the two of them had to close their eyes. At the same time, the mind that was as still as the Dead Sea was raging. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. The dazzling light swept across, and there were layers of huge waves in the mind. Retreat. After Sima Yue transferred the last bit of energy into Su Lunyan's soul, she pulled little 7 and wanted to retreat. However, at this moment, her sea of consciousness was already turbulent. A huge wave rushed towards them. Sima Yue saw that she couldn't avoid it. She pushed little 7 forward and bore the impact of the huge wave alone. Puffed. In the room, Sima Yue spat out a mouthful of blood. As she could not avoid it in time, most of the blood sprayed onto Su Lunyan's clothes. Yu, little 7 was pushed out by Sima Yue. She was not injured. When she opened her eyes, she saw Sima Yue vomiting blood and falling off the bed. Before she fainted, Sima Yue remembered to remove the barrier. Yu, the people outside the door heard the screams from inside. When they realized that the barrier had been removed, they quickly pushed the door open and entered. When they entered, they saw Sima Yue being carried by little 7. There was still blood at the corner of her mouth. She fainted in little 7's arms. Her pale face and frowning eyebrows told of her current situation. Huang Yingying went forward. When she saw Sima Yue in such a state, she was so anxious that she did not know where to put her hands. How did this happen? Sima Zhiyuan was heartbroken. How did she end up in such a state after saving someone? Let me take a look. Yinlang kept his usual playful expression. Yes, let him take a look. He knows medicine too. When He Zhenjiang saw that Sima Yue had fainted, he was worried and guilty. After he spoke, he glanced at Su Lunyan, who was on the bed. It was fine if he did not look, but once he looked, he saw that her eyes were moving. Lunyan. He ran to the side of the bed and grabbed Su Lunyan's hand. Lunyan, you're awake? His voice attracted the attention of the others, but they only glanced at him once before turning their heads away again. Regardless of whether Su Lunyan was awake or not, they only cared about Sima Yue's condition. Yinlang checked Sima Yue and said her consciousness was severely injured and she fainted. She'll be fine after taking some pills and resting. When the Sima family heard this, they were relieved. They carried Sima Yue to the bed at the side. Su Lunyan's eyes moved, but she still did not wake up. He Zhenjiang was so anxious that tears almost fell. How did this happen? He looked at Yinlang. Did she give you a pill? Yinlang asked. Yes, she'd give me pills. He Zhenjiang took out a milky white pill and fed it to Su Lunyan. Su Lunyan, who could only eat liquid food, actually swallowed the pill this time. After a while, the pair of eyes that had been closed for 5 years finally opened slowly. Chapter 1465. Lunyan. He Zhenjiang grabbed Su Lunyan's hand emotionally. He could not stop his tears from falling when he saw her open her eyes. Zhenjiang. Su Lunyan didn't speak for a long time. She opened her mouth and only let out a weak breath, but there wasn't much sound. Great, you really woke up. I'm not dreaming. He Zhenjiang grabbed her hand and put it on his face. His eyes were full of tenderness and excitement. Su Lunyan smiled and looked around as if she was looking for something. What are you looking at? Asked He Zhenjiang. I think I saw a little girl. She brought me out of that dark place. Su Lunyan said. Yue was the one who woke you up. He Zhenjiang said, she's injured and is lying on the couch. There's really someone. Then she wasn't dreaming. Have a good rest. When you can get up, you will see her. He Zhenjiang comforted. Su Lunyan did not have any strength at this point in time. so she closed her eyes obediently. He Zhang saw that she was resting with her eyes closed. After a while, he stood up and walked over to Sima Yue. Seeing that Sima Yue was still unconscious, he asked, "How is she?" "I've already taken some pills. My condition has stabilized for now," Lang said. After a while, the butler said at the door, "Master, the room next door is ready." Because they did not expect Sima Yue to be injured, they did not prepare a room for her. Knowing that she was injured, the butler immediately got someone to tidy up the room without any instructions. Lil 7 carried Sima Yue to another room, and the entire Sima family rushed over. They didn't care about the situation in the other room at all. Sima Yue did not know how long she had been unconscious. When she woke up, she felt a sharp pain in her head. When she moved slightly, she felt as if a tendon in her brain was being pulled. She reached out to rub her forehead. She wanted to get up, but she didn't have the strength. "You're awake." A gentle voice came from the top of her head. Following that, a beautiful and gentle lady came up and smiled at Sima Yue. "Auntie, how are you?" Sima Yue was a little surprised that the first person she saw when she woke up was her, so she asked subconsciously. Su Lunyan didn't expect that the first thing Lunyan did when she woke up was to show concern for her, even though Lunyan looked so uncomfortable. The smile on her face deepened. "I've almost recovered." She reached out to help Sima Yue up. "It's all thanks to you. If it weren't for you, I would still be in a coma. It's good that you're all right." Sima Yue sat up and took out a pill for herself. "I'm fine. You, on the other hand, got hurt because you tried to save me," Su Lunyan said gently with an apologetic tone. Sima Yue felt that Su Lunyan was really beautiful and gentle. She gave off the feeling of a girl from Jiangnan in her previous life, which was rare in this mainland. At this moment, Lang came in. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, he said, "You've been sleeping for 10 days. You're finally awake." Sima Yue rubbed her head and said, "Why are you still here?" "Of course I'm here to take care of you," Lang said. "You don't know how many good herbs I've wasted while you were in a coma. You're still in pain after so many days. It seems like your good stuff isn't that great either." Sima Yue attacked him mercilessly. However, she was still grateful to him. She was well aware of the severity of her injuries. If he didn't use so many good things, she would be in even more pain now. After all, it was troublesome to injure one's divine sense. "Humph. Those things were taken from my storage room. When did they become yours?" He Zhang, who followed behind, scoffed. He came to Su Lunyan's side and said, "Didn't I ask you to rest in the house? Why did you come here?" The Sima family left. "Of course I had to come over to take a look." Su Lunyan said, "Moreover, she's my savior. I'll feel bad if I don't do anything when I see her injured." "Did something happen to the Sima family?" Sima Yue asked. If it wasn't something based on Grandma's character, they wouldn't leave her here. He Zhang was silent for a while and said, "Something did happen to the Sima family, but it's not very serious. It's just a little dangerous, so I left you here." Sima Yue frowned. His words were obviously contradictory. However, she couldn't do anything in her current state. "Where's little 7? She was still in the house just now. She disappeared in the blink of an eye." Su Lunyan looked around and didn't see little 7. Sima Yue frowned. Little 7 wouldn't leave her before she woke up. Did something happen to her? Yu. Little 7 ran in from outside. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, she pounced over. "Yu, you're finally awake." Sima Yue hugged her back and said, "Where did you go?" "I heard some movement outside just now, so I went out to take a look. It's fine now." Little 7 said, "Is it Grandpa and the rest?" Sima Yue guessed it immediately. "It's the Jiang family who came looking for trouble. But it's fine now. Don't worry," Little 7 said. Sima Yue responded and didn't ask any more questions. Even Little 7 ran over to help. Was the Sima family's matter a small matter? She was the fuse of this matter, but she couldn't do anything. This made her feel a little guilty. "Don't think too much. We're still in Court City. If something really happened, we wouldn't just stand by and watch." Su Lunyan saw through her thoughts and comforted her. "Thank you, Auntie. Now that I'm awake, I won't disturb you." She wanted to go back to the inn to take a look. "You want to go back?" No matter what happens, I still won't go back. Sima Yue said, "No way. Your grandpa handed you over to us when he left. You haven't fully recovered from your injuries. How can we let you leave? If something happens, how do you want me to explain to your grandpa and the rest?" He Xinjiang said. Sima Xiuqi and the rest said before they left that they must protect her. So, they couldn't let her leave Yi residence now. Yu, don't worry. Little Seven said, "The matter has been resolved. Those people have been sent flying by me. Grandma was worried that you would think too much, so she asked me to come back first." "All right, don't think about it. You should recuperate well." "Really? When have I ever lied to you?" Little Seven pouted. Sima Yue was still worried. Until Huang Yingying and Sima Luxian came to see her, she really believed that the Sima family was fine now. Chapter 1466. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, Huang Yingying and the rest were relieved. "Yue, how do you feel?" "I'm fine." Sima Yue said, "Grandma, what happened to the family? Now that you're here, how are things over there?" "It was the Jiang family that came to cause trouble, but your great-grandfather brought people to beat them back. It's nothing. Don't worry about it," Huang Yingying said indifferently. "What you need to do now is to recuperate." Sima Yue nodded and said, "My injuries are almost healed. I'll give Auntie a final checkup in 2 days, and then I can leave." "All right," Huang Yingying said, "We have officially fallen out with the Jiang family, and the family does need people. Your grandfather and the others have already gone back. We'll go back once you've recovered." "All right." 2 days later, He Zhenjiang and Su Lunyan were not surprised to know that Sima Yue and the rest were leaving. Yue, Chengzhou, and Cord City aren't too far away. If you need us to do anything, just send us a message, and we'll bring people over immediately. Su Lunyan grabbed her hand and said affectionately, "I will." Sima Yue said, "Maybe I'll have to trouble you. If there's anything, just say it." He Zhenjiang held Su Lunyan's waist. "You can say that you saved Auntie's life. We don't have any children, so you are our child." "Thank you, Uncle He." Sima Yue was not pretentious. The Sima family status in the inner circle was a little low. It was good to have more external help. "I really envy Luxian for having such an outstanding daughter. If our child was still alive, I wonder what she would be like," Su Lunyan said sadly. "The dead are gone. Auntie, don't be too sad." Sima Yue said, "Oh right, there's something I forgot to tell you." "What?" "My previous judgment was a little wrong. It wasn't the ghost clan that imprisoned Aunt He's soul." "Not a ghost. But didn't you say that it was done by the ghost clan?" He Zhenjiang was surprised. If the reason was wrong, how could Su Lunyan be saved? "I did sense the aura of death." Sima Yue said, "At first, I thought it was ghost chi used by the ghost clan, but when I went to wake Aunt He up, I realized it was just death chi, not ghost chi." "What's the difference?" Su Lunyan was confused. "The ghost clan's ghost chi comes from the ghost realm, while the death chi comes from the dead." Sima Yue said, "To put it simply, the ghost aura only exists when a soul goes to the world of spirits and spirits. The one who attacked you is just a dead person." "Dead people? How did the dead attack?" "Generally speaking, after a person dies, their soul has to enter the world of spirits and souls to start anew. If you stay in the human world for any reason, you won't be able to cultivate." Sima Yue explained, "But the one who attacked you is already dead, but his soul was left in the human world, and he cultivated very well." Su Lunyan recalled the scene at that time and said, "It seems a little strange. Those who attacked me did look like dead people. Their pale faces had no color at all." "Are you sure it's a person and not a soul?" Sima Yue asked. "It's indeed a person," Su Lunyan said with certainty. "If it wasn't for the treasure on me that protected my soul at the crucial moment, I think I would have ended up like my maids." "Dead people." Sima Yue frowned, not knowing what was going on. "Those should be dead bodies." Sima Luxian said, "I heard Kaluo say that if a person dies and holds his soul in his body and refines it, he can turn into a dead body. Why did those people do that to the dead body?" The combat power of the dead body is stronger than the soul body, and they can still maintain the strength they had when they were alive. Sima Lu Xian said, "But this is called sorcery in the ghost realm. How can someone know this? It seems that Uncle He, you have to be more careful when you investigate." Sima Yue said, "I will be careful." He Zhenjiang's face was solemn. If what Sima Yue said was true, then the person he was investigating was someone who knew sorcery. The enemy was in the dark while he was in the light. This was quite dangerous. "I think it's better not to let outsiders know about the news of Aunt He waking up for the time being, in case those people are desperate." Sima Yue said, "The news of Aunt He waking up hasn't spread out yet, right?" "It hasn't. In order to ensure your safety, I have sealed off this courtyard." Lun Yin hasn't left either. He Zhang said, "But those people outside have been waiting for the results of your treatment. I still want to tell them about your medical skills." "There's no need for that. It's fine even if they think that my medical skills aren't good." Sima Yue said, "Anyway, I don't know them. I don't need them to affirm my medical skills. Your safety is more important now." He Zhang and Su Lunyan were a little moved. At their level, there were very few people who truly cared about them. "Uncle He, if you find out anything, can you let me know if it's possible? I'm more interested in this kind of thing." Sima Yue said, "All right, you can control the death aura. We might need your help when the time comes." He Zhang said, "That's good. Annie's body is fine now. Grandma and I will go home first. Take this. Remember what I said. Inform us if you need anything." He Zhang reminded. Sima Yue took the token and found that it was the same as Yinlang's. "This is the same as Yinlang's. With this, you can find me directly, or you can ask for help from the Chu family outside." He Zhang saw through her thoughts and said, "Thank you, Uncle He." Sima Yue kept the token and left the He residence with Huang Ying and Sima Lu Xian. When she went out, she saw the people who were guarding outside. After seeing her, those people pointed at her, meaning nothing more than that she made such a big commotion before, but the result was the same. Only Yin Su looked at her differently. Sima Yue guessed that it was because the profound moon fruit was already in her hands. They went back to the inn to pick up Mu Si. Then they saw Yin Lang when they came out. She didn't see him at the He residence before. Now that he appeared, it should be Yin Su who told him. "Are you sure you want to go with me?" Sima Yue asked. He also knew about the Sima family and Jiang family. If he still followed her at this time, he would inevitably be involved in this matter. "I said, before I understand what kind of feelings you were talking about, I will always follow you." Yin Lang was still the same, as if nothing happened here. "You said it." Sima Yue looked at him. "Then let's go together." Chapter 1467. Chongzhou was one of the biggest cities in Yi County. It was also the city where the Sima family lived. In this city, nearly half of the people were members of the Sima family or were related to this family. The remaining half had to rely on the Sima family. Therefore, the Sima family had the absolute right to speak here. When Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian arrived, they caused a huge commotion. All the people saw Sima Lu Xian. The genius they were once proud of ended up like this, because he got together with the princess of the Ghost Clan. Seeing those people pointing at Sima Lu Xian, Huang Ying was very angry. She wanted to get angry, but was stopped by Sima Lu Xian. "Mother, those people didn't do anything wrong. I don't care, so don't take it to heart." He advised. "These people are all on Sima Tu's side. Seeing that your father and I gave up our rights in the family, they dared to be so brazen." Huang Ying had a straightforward personality. She was furious when she saw those people. "Grandmother, don't be angry. The angrier you are, the happier they are." Sima Yue said, "Since those people are so powerful, they must have a way to detoxify their young mistress. My method of suppressing the poison can only suppress it for 2 to 3 months. Including the time she was poisoned, their young miss only has 2 to 3 months left. They're not in a hurry to take Sima Lu Xi's life. If they want to shout here, then let them." Although she kept smiling, her voice was abnormally cold. Moreover, Her voice was clearly not loud, but spread throughout the entire street, causing those people to stop. No one dared to say another word. Jiang Shui had returned with Sima Lu Shi a few days earlier. What had happened in Chu City had also spread throughout the city. As soon as they heard that Sima Lu Xian's daughter refused to treat Miss Shi, the people here were unhappy and waited for them to come back so that they could embarrass him. Who would have thought that Sima Yue would grab their lifeline the moment she opened her mouth? Currently, only she could cure Sima Lu Shi's poison. Sima Yu saw that they had quietened down, and the corner of her mouth curled into a sneer. She continued, "City Lord Lang, I heard that they came to look for you again. Why don't you give them the antidote pill formula so that they won't pester me when we return?" "How can that be?" Yin Lang directly refused. "Since I've already given you the pill formula as the most important condition in exchange, I naturally have to abide by the agreement and can't give it to anyone else. Otherwise, wouldn't I become a person who breaks my promise? When did I ask you not to give it to others?" Sima Yue asked. "Although you didn't ask for it, I did ask for myself," Yin Lang said seriously. "I've always been a man of my word, so I can't tell anyone else about this." Sima Yue stared at Yin Lang and sighed. She did not say anything and looked very helpless. The people who heard their conversation became anxious. It seemed like she was the only one who could save Miss Shi. This was really depressing news. Sima Yue held Sima Lu Xian's hand, and Sima Lu Xian patted her hand. Seeing that she had done all these for him, his heart felt very warm. Although he really didn't care about what they said, he felt that it was worth it to have such a considerate daughter. They walked through half of the city and finally arrived at the Sima family. This Sima family's residence was much more imposing than the Yilin continent's Sima family. There were layers of houses that one couldn't see the end of at a glance. The main door was 100 feet wide, and there was a protective array made of gems on it. Even a battle between paragons could not easily damage this door. "It's really imposing." Sima Yue stood in front of the door and looked up at the gems on it and exclaimed, "Your Sima family's door is even more imposing than our door." It was Yin Lang's first time seeing the Sima family's door. He didn't expect there to be such a magnificent residence in this state. These were built when our ancestors came here. At that time, the family had just arrived here and was stronger. In order to hide the loss of moving, they built such a door. Huang Ying explained, "This door looks a little old, but the gems on it just put there not long ago." Yin Lang said. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, "Let's go." Yin Lang touched his nose. He was just telling the truth. The Sima family and the Jiang family had been fighting fiercely recently. In order to make the protective array strong enough to protect the family, the Sima family did change the spirit stones. The news of Sima Lu Xian and Sima Yoyue's return shook the entire Sima family. Everyone thought they were going to return to the family. They even got the news that they were outside the door. But after waiting for a long time, they didn't see them come in. "Where's young miss?" Sima Ji Yuan waited anxiously at home, so he went out to look for them. However, there was no one outside the door. Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian were nowhere to be seen. Young Miss said that the Sima family's door is really imposing, but she didn't have an invitation from the Sima family and didn't bring a visiting card. She won't go in today. She will visit again when she has the chance. The guard replied in a trembling voice. When they heard Sima Yue say, "Let's go," they thought she was going in. But she turned around and left. The few guards were stunned. Then, someone reacted and asked her why she didn't go in. She gave such an answer. Sima Ji Yuan and the people behind him heard Sima Yoyue's words, and the corners of their mouths twitched. She was saying that she wasn't a member of the Sima family and couldn't enter the Sima family's door casually. "This little girl, what is she doing now?" Sima Ji Yuan scolded. He asked the guard where she left and wanted to go look for her. "Don't be anxious." Sima Hishun pulled him back. "Yue has her own thoughts." "What thoughts does she have?" "I finally managed to coax her to the door, but she doesn't want to enter. I have to bring her back. She's not a member of the Sima family. Even if you call her, she won't come back." Sima Hishun said, "If you want her to come in, the most direct way is to acknowledge Lu Xian and let him enter the family tree again. She will only come back when Lu Xian comes back. She would only be willing to come back when Sima Lu Xian returned to the family. This was something that everyone understood long ago. Sigh. Sima Zhiyuan sighed, then jumped up and said, I'll go and enter their family tree tomorrow. After speaking, he chased after Sima Yuyue and the others. Where are you going now? Someone called out from behind. To relax. Sima Zhiyuan left without looking back. She wasn't willing to come home now. Couldn't he go look for her? In order to let her come home, his heart was broken. It was all Jiang Shui's fault. If it wasn't for them poisoning Yuyue when she was young, why would she not be willing to come back now? Now, they even dared to contact the Jiang family to cause trouble. See how he would deal with them later. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.